The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Hello, this is Zack Sabre Jr., New Japan Cup winner 2018. And you're listening to Keepin It Strong Style with my mates. Enjoy.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is a network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here alongside the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we will have more coverage of the Super Junior Tag League. We'll also be previewing this Saturday's Power Struggle event, as well as covering all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing to the Social Suplex Podcast Network on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns at socialsuplex.com. Go to social.com/subscribe. Sign up to get all the podcasts and columns delivered directly to your email inbox. All right, young boy. Are you ready to jump into this Super Junior Tag League coverage?
Olale! Viva la raza! We bowdy. What they used to say?
Bowdy, rowdy.
Yeah, man. I'm ready.
El Young Hee-Ho.
El Hee-Ho de Young Boy. The son of the young boy. It's like the really, really young boy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, yeah. So I'm totally ready, man. How things been going?
Things been going good, man. Just been a very, very busy weekend trying to keep up with all this New Japan, all the other wrestling, and trying to have a social life. So,
what other wrestling is there?
There's lots of other wrestling out there.
I know no other wrestling. I only know what Harold Mai puts in front of my face, and that's it. That's all I have.
Oh my gosh.
There's nothing else. Crown Jewel, what's that? Evolution, what's that? Evolve, psh. It's all about New Japan Pro Wrestling, baby. No, yeah. This weekend was pretty crazy. You're trying to have a social life. You're at that gimmick, right?
Yeah, I was at Halloween Horror Nights Friday night.
Yo, why didn't you invite me?
It was kind of a,
Bro, how can you do stuff like that without your tag team partner? You trying to go singles?
Top talent, they get the singles push,
Whatever. I'm gonna stage a coup, take over this show. But yeah, man, this weekend was really good. There's a lot of good wrestling. I mean, we've had 4 shows over since last week.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and I'm super excited about Power Struggle. It's like our last major show before the end of the year, and then it's award season and tag season, and then our 1-year anniversary.
Boom! Yeah. So all that stuff is right around the corner, man. Man,
things are rolling. We got a lot of new projects in the works, things that we're working on. Stuff we'll be telling you guys about in the near future. But yeah, I'm super excited. Let's dive into this riveting Super Junior Tag League, because God knows that I love this tag team tournament.
This has been the best tournament you've seen all year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been better than the Young Lions Cup. It's better than Crockett Cup. Better than King of the Ring. I mean, better than the G1. No. Actually, you know what? We'll get into our review of it, but I would actually venture to say that of all the tournaments I've seen this year, this is my least favorite.
I would have to agree with you there, man.
Do you like... Okay, so obviously you like the G1 better than the Super Junior Tag League.
Yeah.
You like Best of the Super Juniors better than this?
Yes.
Did you like the New Japan Cup better than this?
Yes.
Did you like World Tag League better than this?
Probably.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Okay, last question. Did you like the Young Lions Cup better than this?
Yeah.
Bro, me too.
You got Yagi and Narita out there having, Matt classics,
Now that's not to completely bury this because the working level in New Japan is so high. So I mean, it's not to say that this was just utter crap or anything like that, but that does tell you something. When both of us tended to like every single tournament that happened this year better than this. So
yeah, the thing is, like, man, the teams are here are very talented. This had a lot of talented wrestlers on this tournament. I was almost expecting a tag version of the singles tournament, the singles junior tournament.
Same.
I was expecting more 3.75 to like 4.25 matches throughout this thing.
You know what? And it didn't need to be that necessarily. My feeling about this, and maybe I might get some criticism about it. I don't know if it's just me that felt this way because I haven't been on any message boards. I haven't been interacting with, the IWC or, the gatekeepers of New Japan.
Yeah.
I've just been watching this on my own and just kind of drudging through it. And to me, what seemed to be the problem wasn't that the wrestling wasn't good. It wasn't great, but it was just the fact that it seemed very homogenized. I literally couldn't point out too many matches that felt any different from another match the whole tournament. There's like some teams that felt, that they had a certain distinct style of wrestling in their matches, but all their matches were kind of the same thing.
Right. You feel like there was like a similar formula for a majority of the matches.
Let me put it to you this way. If you've seen a 6-man tag in New Japan, you've seen them all. That's not to say that there aren't some really good ones and some bad ones, but generally speaking, there's a style there. Same thing with their 8-mans. Same thing with their 10-mans. There are very rare occasions where you get a truly great, version of that.
Yeah.
But New Japan does typically have a style. I feel like these tag matches were totally indicative of that style. This was in no way near, and I'm not just talking about skill level, it was nowhere near what you got with like Best of the Super Juniors. Every night it was like a very varied thing. You'd get like a high-flying match, you'd get like a comedy match, you would get like a brawling match, you'd get a mat classic technique, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You didn't get this with this tournament. It was all kind of just the same stuff.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of the guys that's kind of doing their shtick. I mean, they're working these small little house shows, a lot of these tournaments, a lot of the shows, so it's like, I can't blame them for not going all out.
No, I'm not sitting here thinking necessarily that the guys would go all out, but do you remember when we first started covering this and you were like, I'm so excited, look at the lineup of talent, this could be really great, and then I was like, I have doubts about this tournament because it's a tag tournament,
A league, yeah.
It's a league, yeah. And I was like, I don't feel like these guys are going to go out there and kill themselves. I mean, like, think about it. Going forward, do I think Ishimori and Eagles are going to be a long-term tag team, or ACH and Taguchi, or Kushida and Sabin, or Liger and Tiger? I mean, Liger and Tiger tag regularly, but they're not like. They're not like Roppongi 3K.
Right, they're not a premier junior tag team that's going to be blazing a trail.
Same thing with Volador and Soberano. So I mean, all these guys, they're out there, they're tagging, they're having a good time. It's it's whatever. But at the end of the day, they're not going to turn around and get their booking dates on the indies or internationally based off of this tag team tournament. You know what I mean? Like, they're not getting notoriety from this tournament. You know what I mean? Not the same way when they do Best of Super Juniors, it's like the pinnacle for junior wrestling across the world. So it's a big deal. Business-wise for them, it's a big deal. This, not so much. You know what I mean? And, the three teams that are getting the push, and we'll talk about it, they're the ones who are putting forth the best effort. They're the ones who are having the best matches because it affects their bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it makes all the sense in the world. So this wasn't like something that like revitalized the junior tag division. After this is over, I don't know that there is a junior tag division.
We're just going to go back to, the same few teams that we've had before.
Unless something changes.
Yeah.
That's my general like viewpoint on this. You know what I mean? Like it and you know what? I will say this. I woke up the other day. I woke up like I think it was Wednesday, and no. When did we record?
We record on Monday nights. Yeah.
Tuesday. I woke up Tuesday, and we'd done the show, and I just wasn't feeling it, man. I really wasn't feeling it, and I woke up and I was like, you know what? I've been too negative on this show. Like, not to say that I'm gonna back off or take like a stance that I don't agree with, but I was like, man, I've been like too negative on the show. I was like, I'm gonna make a concerted effort to be like that bright-eyed kid that started covering this stuff last year, who had no idea what the World Tag League was about to do to him. He hadn't gone through a whole G1 and all that crap. But one thing I noticed was like this weekend I did watch a lot of other wrestling that I don't generally watch, and I did realize I was like, dude, we're spoiled with New Japan, because this tournament happens in other companies and it's probably gonna get a lot of buzz.
Yeah,
like if this happened in like WWE, well, I don't know, I guess it wouldn't, because 205 is producing great matches, nobody cares.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if this happened in maybe like a Ring of Honor or MLW, or maybe even Impact, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not saying it would set the world on fire, but people would be like positive about it. You know what I mean? They'd be like really, really happy. And then like New Japan fans are like, man, that was a 3.75 match. That sucked.
3.5, trash.
Yeah. But I went to some indie shows this weekend, and I was like, well, we went to the Evolve show. We'll talk about that later. But that was great. That was a really good show. But I saw some other stuff that I was like, my God, this is actually bad. And I can't remember too many times very often where I watched New Japan wrestling that's bad.
Right.
And nothing here was bad. So I was like, you know what? I do need to be a little more positive about this product, because at the end of the day, this is better than watching Monday Night Raw. It's better than watching SmackDown, or whatever. It's better than watching Ring of Honor television every week. I mean, there's very few products that can keep up with what they, the quality level that New Japan puts out there.
Yeah, I mean, our buzzword, consistency.
They're consistent.
Yeah.
This was a consistent tournament.
Yeah, definitely.
Really consistent. I mean, there just was nothing memorable.
Right. Like I told you earlier before we recorded, I'm like, a year from now, are we going to remember any matches or any really big moments from this tournament?
Well, I mean, it's not over yet, so it remains to be seen, but you're probably right.
Right. Like I can't see us being like next year, oh, you remember that, Shingo and Bushi versus LIJ match?
No, it doesn't.
Or versus, Suzuki-gun match, something like that,
I don't know if you remember this, though. There have been New Japan Cups in the past that nobody cared about, that were kind of unmemorable. I mean, every New Japan Cup has a good match or so. Mm-hmm. This year was like a total 180 from what we've seen in the past, where it was like an incredible tournament. You know what I mean? The booking was incredible, the matches, everything like that. So, I mean, it's not to say that this was a bad way to go or a bad business idea. Obviously, giving these guys more opportunities to headline cards and to be featured was a good idea, but I think you have to have a junior tag league to an actual junior division,
right, to
make this work. Because I don't feel like I was invested. I don't think the crowds were that invested. So, I mean, it is what it was,
Yeah. So let's
do some grades. Let's do some reviews. I think each guy had 3 matches over the last 8 shows.
Yeah.
Or each team.
Yeah. Let's start off with the team that's on top. And be warned, if you are listening to this, we are going to be covering some of the matches that aired already, that aired today, and that will be airing tomorrow.
Yeah, the one that occurred earlier this morning that has not been put on video on demand yet.
All right. So if you don't want spoilers, fast forward a little bit into the show, but we're going to be covering the current standings as they stand right now, based on what has been, what has happened, even though it hasn't been aired yet. So we're going to start at the very top of the standings. We have the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions Yoshinobu Kanemaru, El Desperado, Suzuki-gun, They are at 5 wins and 2 losses with 10 points. Young boy, what do you feel about the Suzuki-gun team in this match, in this tournament?
I have mostly been disappointed. I don't even want to say disappointed because I didn't have high expectations for them to begin with, but I've mostly been apathetic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the same stuff that you get with these guys, jumping people from the entranceway, brawling into the crowd, cheating, Satori, whiskey, mass ripping, mass pulling, low blows, quick cheap pins. I mean, that's been their MO this whole tournament.
The one thing that was nice was on night 7, the first night that they did the Corkin show, all these teams tended to be more motivated and have better matches. But looking at, who on day 6, they wrestled the Bullet Club team of Robbie Eagles and Taiji Ishimori. They went 10 minutes, 30 seconds. There wasn't much that I really remember about that match other than the fact that they, that Suzuki-gun went over and they cheated.
Right.
But it was like right by the numbers, exactly what you would have expected out of these guys. I do think that they had two better matches on night 7 and night 8, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, so night 7, they were taking on Volador Jr. and Soberano Jr.
Yeah.
This was the match where they brawled up into the crowd.
Right.
And Soberano and Volador hit those crossbodies off the balcony area there.
That was cool. I always kind of cringe when guys do that, but I guess it's probably a safer spot than you would think. I always do wonder if like the people at Corkin are like, because they made that big stink like in the in Ryogoku, I believe, or no, in Budokan.
Right when
yeah.
With Ibushi.
Yep, when Ibushi did the
moonsault off the balcony.
Yep. So I do wonder, like in like Corkin, I'm like, does anyone ever be like, you guys might not want to do that, because like it just takes one slip and then someone's tumbling down those stairs,
Yeah.
But that was an interesting moment. But I will say this: I'm not one of these guys that's going to come out here and point out every flaw in the logic of the officiating with New Japan. Obviously, we've talked about it. There's a lot of flaws with their officiating and some logic that doesn't add up. But dude, on this night, it was egregious. They let those guys brawl all over the arena, and I'm not a fan of that sort of thing.
Yeah, at what point do you start the count out? I get you have referees' discretion, and yeah, you let them brawl out for a little bit, but I mean, they were out there, well over 20 seconds.
Dude, they were out there for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No, the match didn't go that long, but it felt like
they were there for a few minutes.
The match went 12:40.
Yeah.
It felt like a third of the match happened outside.
Yeah.
And that was something where like you don't want to like, let's say if you're a commentator, you want to like point out the fact like how illogical that is, but and I'm sure like the crowd was like, for a live crowd, they love that sort of thing. But
right.
When you're like watching it on World, I'm like, why are they out there that long? So, I mean, it was a cool moment. But that match was, like, again, nothing special. It's just Kanemaru and Desperado doing what they've done all year long. Just, cheating and screwing guys out of victories. You know what I mean?
Right. And then night 8, they had the matchup against Bushi and Shingo, which
that might have been like their best match of the tournament.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were expecting Bushi and Shingo to get the win over these guys, but Suzuki-gun used their Suzuki-gun tactics once again to pull out the win here, with Despi pulling off the mask and low blowing Bushi and getting that quick cradle for the pinfall.
Yeah. So that was kind of a surprising turn of events. But when you start looking at the point structure, I mean, at that point they had 8 points. If they had lost there, that would have essentially pushed Bushi and Shingo into the 10-point range right off the bat. So they would have essentially, at that point, because they'd already beat Sho and Yo, and then they would have beat Suzuki-gun, that would have been the tiebreaker right there. It would have put them in first place, and nobody would have been able to knock them off anyways.
Right.
And so that would have been a clear, decisive, they're going into the finals right off the bat. So it was kind of interesting that New Japan decided to sort of book somewhat of an upset as far as bookings go.
Yeah.
Because then that put Kanemaru and Desperado in first place, and then kind of create an interesting scenario when it comes to the point structure for the remaining teams that were in that, same vicinity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what final thoughts on Kanemaru and Desperado? I mean, what did you kind of expect going into this tournament from these guys? And
I mean, honestly, like they've actually performed how I expected. Like I expected them, all the cheating, all shenanigans like we normally get.
Right.
So I can't say I was really disappointed. That's how they book those guys all the time. So I wasn't expecting them to like not be that way in this tournament.
Yeah, I think we talk about a lot of these teams disappointing us and the talent level. And I'm not knocking Kanemaru and Desperado. I mean, they are what they are. I mean, these guys are talented to a certain degree. But we've watched them tag for several years now, and I don't think I've ever seen them in a great match.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I think we talked about it when we gave our preview. We said these guys are going to be the team to beat. Because they're the champions, but they're going to be shenanigating, hoodwinking, doing
finessing.
They're going to be doing it all. They're going to be beating people up with chairs. They're going to be pulling refs out. They're going to be
pulling masks,
spraying mist. Not trying. And I mean, the match with I should say the match with Bushi and Shingo actually was one of the better matches of the tournament.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it wasn't anything remarkable. And
so what would you give? What's your grade for these guys?
For Kanemaru and Desperado,
yeah,
I'd go C.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
They weren't like awful, but they weren't good either. I mean, three stars.
Yeah.
3 stars. Flat.
Yeah.
Serviceable. They're good little hands.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, I will say this as a fan, not as like anything else, but just as a fan, I'm ready for them to lose the belts.
Yeah.
Like, I feel about Kanemaru and Desperado the way I used to feel about like Steven Regal when he was the TV champion. I hated him, bro.
Oh my
I hated it.
gosh.
I wanted anybody but Regal is like how I felt. I remember as a kid, literally, like, now as an adult, and I watch Regal wrestle, my mind is blown.
Yeah, dude.
He's amazing.
Regal, yeah, he was so underrated growing up as a kid.
Bro, as a kid, he sucked. He literally sucked. He was a terrible wrestler. I couldn't even fathom in my mind how anybody couldn't beat him. I was like, it doesn't make sense. He sucks so bad.
Yeah.
How does he keep, like, he's like Honky Tonk Man,
Yeah.
But no, he's like one of the goats, and I was just
we're blind to it, man.
I was a simple mark, But not the same with Kanemaru and Desperado. Although I think Desperado's had a good year.
Yeah, and Desperado, he's a guy, you get him in a one-on-one match, he can reach that, good to great level.
Kanemaru and Noah had performances like that. It's just that was a long time ago,
Yeah.
It's not the same guy.
Yeah.
But I'd go C for these guys. Is that that's the rating you have?
Yep.
Okay. So then let's talk about the next team that also is tied with 10 points, which to no surprise to anybody, I think that they're one of the top 2 favorites to go to the finals, and that's LIJ, Bushi, and Shingo Takagi.
Yeah, man. And, honestly, this whole tournament, in my eyes, has been all about, introducing Shingo to the New Japan fans and just getting him over. All of his matches have all been, focused all around 3 moves, getting 3 moves over. That gory bomb, the pumping bomber lariat, and his finish, the Last of the Dragon, formerly called the Last Falconry, which is like a sit-out Death Valley driver type maneuver, which I love it.
Bro, that lariat, my God.
Yes, dude, the pumping bomber. Oh my, yeah, dude.
So over the past few nights, on day 5, they wrestled. They defeated Volador Jr. and Soberano Jr. 13 minutes and 40 seconds. On night 7, they wrestled. Let me see here. the Bullet Club team of Ishimori and Robbie Eagles, which was a very good match as well. And then on the final night, which we discussed, which was day 8, they wrestled Desperado and Kanemaru. And then last night, actually today, that would have been day 10, they had their final match. And I need to see who that was here.
Yeah, but while you're looking that up, I mean, I really enjoyed the match against the Bullet Club team, Ishimori and Robbie Eagles. It was great having Shingo and Ishimori in there together. They were so great, and it was almost like a little taste, a little preview of what we're going to see in the junior division and the singles action with these two top guys that have come into the division this year. And I mean, just the interaction, the chemistry that those guys had was amazing. And another thing I loved about this matchup here was the false finish towards the end. So, once again, they're in Korakuen Hall, and Robbie Eagles works Bushi's knee over, similar to how he did to Liger's knee on the first night. Yeah. He hits the 450 splash on Bushi's knee and then locks in that deathlock type maneuver submission. And, the crowd's like, oh, Eagles is going to tap. Everybody thought that Bushi was going to tap out. But then Shingo came in to make the save. So I love that they played up to a previous finish that we saw in the tournament in the same building. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I agree. That match was one of the higher ones on my list. It looks like they defeated earlier today Super 69, ACH, and Ryosuke Taguchi. So if they hadn't defeated Super 69, that would have left them at 8 points and kept a lot of these other teams that were near them alive. But with that, they kind of have broken away, and at that point, it does eliminate a lot of these other teams. You were talking about the Bullet Club match?
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked the finish of that match. I thought that you're absolutely right. That told a great story. Obviously, we're raving and reviewing, ranting and raving about Shingo, and I think most people are. But how have you felt about Bushi?
I thought Bushi's been good. I mean, for me, Bushi's always good. Like, yeah. I haven't really seen anything blow away from him, but he's one of those guys. He can have a good little match, and
yeah, I liked when he came out with that time bomb mask.
Yeah, that was very cool, and I really liked that their double team move, which is the play off of his finisher, the MX, like a double team, like a wheelbarrow into the MX that they've been calling the Rebellion. I thought that's been a great tag finish for those guys.
Those moves are okay. I kind of like it. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky here. I like when tag teams have a tag team finish that is independent of either of their individual finishing moves. To me, and maybe I'm just being weird here, I don't know why, but I don't like it. Like in WWE when guys are in a makeshift tag team and then their music gets kind of thrown together. Yeah. I don't like when guys have or they get a tag team name and it's like a play on their two names, and it's
Jericho.
Yeah, it's like a mismatch. I feel like when guys have their two finishers and it gets mismatched like that, it just kind of tells me this is not a real tag team. But real tag teams have the heart attack, Yeah. Or the more bang for your buck. You know what I mean? The freaking death, or what's Legion of Doom's finish?
The death device, the Doomsday device.
Doomsday device. Yeah. These are moves that stand on their own, the 3D. I like that sort of stuff. When and maybe I'm just being nitpicky, but I would prefer when guys are tagging together, if they're gonna be a real tag team, to have for instance, Roppongi 3Ks. They've got the
3K.
The 3K. It's awesome. I like. So I've actually heard some people criticizing it, but I like the 3K.
I like the 3K as well. Also, yeah.
I think it's dope. Yeah. But I also, one thing I wanted to point out on a lot of these nights, especially some of these smaller shows too. Almost every night, Naito's been coming out
with them, yeah.
With them.
In the white
suit,
the suit.
Bro. How often do we get suit Naito?
Right, and this man's not even booked to wrestle on these tours, and he's
I think that's so cool. I mean, I remember when he was doing that with Bushi a couple of years ago, or maybe it was last year when he was doing that junior run and he was trying to unseat Kushida, which he eventually did. Yeah, and it does kind of tell you. It's kind of like when Triple H takes photos with guys. I remember reading this interview, and they're like, how come you, like, when a guy wins a title, you don't always take a photo with them, only some of them. And he's like, well, sometimes they need the rub, you know? He's like, some of these guys don't need the rub, you know? They got the juice, you know what I'm saying? And you notice, like, Hiromu doesn't have, like, Suit Naito following him out, but Bushi has in the past, and I think they're trying, because they're pushing this team, and I also think that because Shingo was just recently inserted into the team, so it's kind of like a transition period. They want to present like united front, and there's no stronger way to do that than to have Naito actually come out and be with these guys. Super cool.
Right. And we have a question here about Bushi from Reddit user Maserati. He says, is Bushi the Yoshihashi of LIJ? And then Muzza _44 responded and said, or is Yoshihashi the Bushi of Chaos?
Bro, oh my god. Okay. I appreciate I appreciate you guys interacting with us and, you know, asking the questions, but you guys gotta step it up, because most weeks both you guys have fire questions. It's usually great, but on this, you guys are way off base with this one. And I've criticized Bushi, but Yoshihashi, come on, dude, come on.
I gotta say though, I feel like Yoshihashi has had some better matches than Bushi.
Okay, you know what? You're right. You're right. You know what? Yoshihashi is a better worker, but Yoshihashi is dusty as. You know I hate Yoshihashi.
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate Bushi. Like, okay, Bushi might not be as good of a worker as Yoshihashi, but his upside is so much higher. He's got all the swag.
Yeah, the suits, the masks. He got the Busharoonie.
The gimmick.
Yeah.
This is a guy who 10 years from now will probably still be able to, like, get over just using his gimmick.
Right.
Like Tajiri.
He'll show up in the New Japan Rumble, miss some people, get tossed out.
Yoshihashi is going to be a guy that probably isn't even working. Like, I don't know exactly what he'll be doing, but I can't imagine too many people showing up for a produce show to watch Yoshihashi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's a tough one for me. And the other thing too is, even though Yoshihashi does tend to get some singles wins and he tends to get pushes and things like that, he's the bottom of a really big group. Bushi happens to be the bottom of LIJ, but there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Like, and they're all spectacular. and he brings something to the table too. Like, would Chaos be better off or worse off without Yoshihashi?
It honestly wouldn't make a difference.
It wouldn't make a difference at all. Do you think that LIJ would lose a little something if they lost Bushi?
Yeah.
There you go. That's my answer. So, but you know what? Taking nothing away from the guy, Yoshihashi's the better worker.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could be a great worker all day, and I'm not going to care about you if you're Yoshihashi.
Yeah.
But getting back to this team, I think that I will say this. I think that there's about 3 or 4 matches that I don't rank anything above 4 stars in this whole tournament, but there's about 3 or 4 matches that I would probably rank pretty high, and they almost all include the LIJ team.
Right. I mean, their first match against Roppongi 3K from night 1 of this tournament is probably the best match of the whole tournament.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I still think that that's the match of the tournament. Their match with Bullet Club, I think they gave the Bullet Club guys their best match of the tournament. I think they gave Kanemaru and Desperado their best match of the tournament. They gave Roppongi 3K their best match of the tournament. That's 3 right there. And, you know, the other matches don't necessarily stick out to me, but nothing was egregiously bad.
Yeah. So what's your grade for these guys?
I'm going to go B+.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I only know we're doing plus and minus, but yeah, I was in the B.
Oh, I always do plus and minus.
I was in the high B range for these guys.
That's like doing star ratings without quarter points. But what are you going to give them?
Yeah, I'll give them a B. Or B+.
Solid. They're a solid B+.
Yeah, I give them 89. out of 100.
89 game rating.
Like they were almost at an A, but not quite there.
But yeah, I look forward to. I think that they did good here, and we'll get into our predictions. But I mean, it's very clear at this point that there's no scenario where they're not going to be in the finals. So they've already clinched the finals. They're in first place. They're above Kanemaru and Desperado. Because they're going to go to the finals.
Yeah.
So,
well, how are they above Kanemaru and Desperado?
Because if Roppongi 3K wins,
yeah,
then it's a 3-way tie. If Roppongi 3K loses, well, I guess they're equal.
Right.
I guess they're equal because they dropped a loss to Suzuki Gun.
Yeah.
But there's no scenario where they don't go to the final.
Right, yeah. So speaking of Sho and Yo, they are the next team we're going to talk about. They have 8 points, and that's what, four wins and 3 or 2 losses.
8 points.
Yeah.
They've got one more match.
So they're at 4-2.
Yeah, they're 4-2.
That's right. So if they win this, they could be 5-2 and tie with these guys.
Yeah. So at this point, the next match that they have in front of them is Do or Die. They're going to be taking on, and this is on the last day, so we've got 2 more days, and they're going to be taking on the team of Time Machine, Kushida and Chris Sabin. So since our last recording, they've had 3 matches. They competed on day 5 or day. Let me see. Yep, day 5. They defeated Jushin Thunder Liger and Tiger Mask at 11 minutes and 40 seconds, which I don't know why I really liked that match.
Really?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed that match quite a bit. I actually enjoyed most of the Liger Tiger Mask matches this whole tournament.
Yeah, I mean, they've been good.
And we'll get to them here in a moment, but yeah, I enjoyed those guys. And then in the main event of night 7, they took on Super 69, ACH, and Taguchi in what was probably the match of the night.
Yeah,
on what was the best night of the tour.
Yeah, let's pause on that match for a second. So, for you guys that don't know, this matchup was actually a rematch of last year's finals of the Super Junior tournament. Roppongi 3K against Super 69. Roppongi 3K came in, blazing a storm in the junior tag division last year. And Super 69, they were the tag champs. Roppongi
3K had just lifted the belts off of Taguchi and Ricochet.
Right. So Super 69 was like, that next team going to come up.
Well, Ricochet left.
Yeah.
So they brought in ACH as his replacement because Funky Weapon lost they lost Ricochet basically. Right. He went on to yellower pasture. But yeah, so they brought in ACH to replace him, which I'm going to say is kind of racial, but whatever. But yeah, and that was essentially a spiritual rematch of their title win.
Sho and Yo, they got the win over those guys last year, won the whole tournament.
In a really good match. And so this was the rematch here. And this match was really, really good. I think it was probably like the second best match of the entire tournament.
Yeah. Except, there was some weird stuff in this match.
Oh, yeah.
With Yo.
I wish you wouldn't even reminded me of that. I forgot that they were doing that DDT stuff.
Yeah, this man, Yo.
I can think of like 4 or 5 matches specifically with different people this year where Taguchi's been sodomized or had something weird happen to his butt this year.
This man was getting his oil checked out here.
Yo, that...
man.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this particular brand of offense. I just don't think that that's a good way to win a fight. Putting your fingers up a dude's bum, I'm not about that.
And then smelling your hand afterwards.
Oh, did he do that?
Yeah, he smelled his hand and he passed out from the scent.
Oh.
I was like, what is happening right now?
That was Yo who did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to be seeing Shawn Michaels. Top guys don't do that sort of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know what? This match was so good that I kind of forgot about the shenanigans and overlooked it. It still ended up being a great match. But, this is why Taguchi gets a bad rap. it's stuff like that.
I know it did start off kind of slow and kind of comedy-ish, but I mean, for the middle of the match towards the end,
Once they got going,
it picked up high pace, high action. It was some really great stuff.
Yeah, yep, real good. So, like I said, day 5 they beat Liger and Tiger. Day 6 they beat ACH and Taguchi, and then on day 8 they defeated the CMLL team of Volador and Soberano. That match was a little underwhelming, and that was one of the only nights of this whole tour where they weren't either headlining or co-main eventing on one of the smaller shows.
Yeah, and they came out with the Taguchi had a Liger replica mask on, while ACH had a replica Tiger mask on.
Oh, we're still talking about Sean Yo.
Oh, I know, but I was just mentioning. Oh, that's right. I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead.
Jumping to Super 69.
But yeah, so Shonyo beat Volador and Soberano Jr. I don't have anything too remarkable to mention about that. They beat him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that puts us at 8 points right now, essentially, with these guys. And like I said, they got one more match to win. I think Ben had actually, even though it's not an official question for the show, Ben Schaefer had some statements kind of about how they've been booked.
Yeah, he messaged me and he was like, who did Show and Yo piss off in the office or piss off in the back? He feels like they should be dominating in the tournament. And I responded to him, I'm like, I don't think they pissed anybody off. They're still in a great spot. I mean, they are one of the top teams in the tournament. They still have a chance to go in the finals. They've been having a lot of main events and a lot of great main events in this tournament. So I wasn't quite seeing that. I mean, also what I told him, in a tournament this small, it's hard for one team to completely dominate. Because if you have a team going on a run in the beginning, it's like they've already won the tournament. So, you couldn't have Show and Yo, go 5-0 and running this thing. So
yeah, I think the one thing too is like they lost to Bushi and Shingo on the first night to kind of establish that team. And then who else did they lose to here? They lost to Super 69.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's who they lost to Super 69 on night 7. So I overlooked that. My apologies. So yeah, they ended up losing to them that night, but prior to that, they were leading the pack. And that was just one small setback. So yeah, at this point, they do need to win one more match to finish with 10 points. But, if you take a look at the other teams that are projected to be at the top, you've got, LIJ, and then you got Suzuki-gun. I don't think LIJ, I would classify them as heels, but they're like tweeners almost.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
They're dominating the entire field. And then you got Suzuki-gun who are just cheating. Roppongi 3K are your white meat baby faces, and you kind of want them to be working from behind to get that big come from behind victory, which is how they booked this tournament. And at the same time, they've already picked up 4 wins. They're going to get a 5th one. That's an 80% record. I don't think that and they're going to the finals most likely, provided they win their next match. So I wouldn't say that they've been buried at all, especially since they've been featured at the top of every single card.
Yeah.
Save for one. They've literally been the hallmark for the entire division. I do think, yes, they're making a play right now, New Japan, to really establish and push Shingo, and that's very evident. But
Roppongi 3K hasn't been forgotten. They're right there.
No, and they've been beating mostly everybody, and the teams that did beat them, it was in the 2 best matches of the tournament against Super 69 and LIJ. So I think that Roppongi 3K has been having an excellent tournament.
Yeah, they've been doing great. So what's your score for those guys?
I would give them a B.
Your grade B?
Yeah.
B flat?
I'm gonna go B. I'm a little bit lower on them than the LIJ team, just because I do feel like, obviously we know that they can have better matches than they have. They've been headlining, and a lot of these matches have been in like the 3-star range. But at the same time, they've been headlining. They've looked great. So they've had 2 great matches. I would go B with them.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in between B minus.
Yeah, as I was talking, I was almost talking myself into a B minus, actually.
Yeah. which I think is still good for those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next up, we have the Bullet Club team of Taiji Ishimori and Robbie Eagles. They have 6 points, 3 wins, 3 losses.
Yep. So they we already kind of talked about the Suzuki-gun match, which was really good. Or I'm sorry, not Suzuki-gun, the LIJ match. They actually took on Suzuki-gun on day 6, and they lost to them at 10 minutes 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was interesting in that Suzuki-gun match. The Bullet Club team was almost like the baby faces in that match.
Yeah, in a way, it kind of reminded me slightly. I mean, this is gonna sound crazy, but it kind of reminded me of when AJ took on Suzuki in the G1, because AJ was like the top heel in the company, but when you put him against Suzuki, becomes a babyface.
Right. The king is the top heel always.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, it's nowhere near that was, Wrestling Observer Match of the Year. So it's nowhere near that, but it kind of it had that similar dynamic that, like, when you get 2 heels that maybe don't square off very often, but it's a tournament play, so they end up against each other. Kind of reminded me of that slightly. And then on day 7, they ended up taking on. We talked about that. They took on LIJ, and then on the final night. And so they dropped both of those matches back to back.
Yeah.
And then on the final night, they picked up a win on night 9 against Chris Sabin and Kushida, the team of Time Machine, which I thought that was I thought that was a good match as well. Probably around 3.5 range.
Yeah, and I think with this Bullet Club team, they were kind of another favorite of people to win this thing.
Yeah.
Just because, the Bullet Club is kind of getting pushed right now. Taiji Ishimori has been consistently pushed all year. So I think people were expecting him to do a little bit better than what they did here. But you got to think about it. He's teaming with Robbie Eagles. We don't even know his contract status, if he's going to be a full-time guy going forward. And like you've mentioned several times, the full-time guys are not going to get a lot of wins over, some of the guys that are under contract and guys that they're pushing.
Yeah, so with Ishimori and Eagles, this was the team that I was the most excited for of any team in the tournament. And there was no match that really blew me away. And there was no performance of theirs that blew me away. I think, now we didn't see a lot of what they could do. I mean, their longest match was the match against LIJ, which is probably their best match. They got 14 minutes. Everything else was, around the 10-minute mark, 12-minute mark. And these guys were, for the most part, featured in the middle of the card.
Yeah.
And they're in the middle of the pack with 6 points, 3 wins, 3 losses. They have one more match to go against the CMLL team. And at this point, that match could go either way because literally it's inconsequential. Both teams are eliminated from the tournament at this point.
Yeah. So
it really doesn't matter. They could hypothetically give Volador and Soberano another win, considering they're at the bottom of the entire point structure, just to kind of bring some more parity.
Yeah.
Or put over Ishimori and Eagles because, it's the CMLL team and they're here to take falls.
Yeah, clearly, and we'll talk about those guys later. And real quick, I want to touch on Robbie Eagles. I thought he's been good, but the one thing that I've not been thrilled about with Eagles is he's doing that kind of that screaming oversell stuff that Ospreay used to do sometimes.
I think it's worse than Ospreay.
Yeah, it is.
It's worse than Ospreay. Yeah.
It's just yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like this over dramatization, like over exaggeration of the screams and some of his selling.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little goofy.
You see a lot of like gaijin. I don't want to just generalize, but a lot of like gaijin performers that wrestle in, say, like Japan, they'll use the silence of the crowd as an opportunity to kind of like make noises. Like, I don't know if you ever seen Jericho matches from like the 90s. I mean, that guy's talking, like, you see a lot of these guys talk a lot during their matches,
right? Because it's almost like they want the Japanese crowd to like pay attention to them.
I don't know what it is, what that tendency is. Maybe it's also like because they're not used to the silence, they're used to like the like participation from the crowd, and so they're trying to like fill the silence with something, or maybe maybe it's something that they do just in general, and in a louder audience, it's kind of drowned out, and so that it's their tendencies, and it. I don't know, but yeah, I would say Eagles has been, his selling's just been super dramatic and very like whiny, and my biggest thing with Robbie Eagles, and I've got some recommended matches of his from like PWA and MCW and different places he's been. I actually kind of we should probably hit up our friend
Chris Bryan.
Chris Bryan, and see what he thinks about it, because he is he's a former wrestler from Australia, and so he probably knows more about Eagles than we do. But this guy came in with all the hype in the world, and people were like talking about how he was just like a tier below Ospreay. And from what I've seen so far, not to say that this is indicative of his full potential or anything, but nothing here screams out to me that he's on the same even close to being on the same level as you know what I mean, as like a Will Ospreay or a Ricochet or any of those high flyers. He seems, and it sounds terrible, but there's a lot of high flyers in modern wrestling today. I mean, I can name you like 10 guys, like Chris Adams, Chris Brooks, PJ Black, Matt Sydal. I mean, there's a Pac. I mean, there's guys everywhere all over the world that can do flippy do stuff and fly, and that's all well and good, and it's entertaining. And we saw some of that from him here, but nothing here screamed to me superstar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think from what I've seen, the hype's a little overblown.
I would have to agree with you. I mean, honestly, like, there's no like one match that where I was like, man, this Robbie Eagles guy is great, and he won me over at all. I mean, he's been fine. I don't really like his selling, and I guess I would need to watch some of his.
I don't like the bandanas either.
You buried the bandanas last week. And what do you think about the sniper eye gimmick he was wearing?
It's fine. I mean, I don't have any strong feelings. I don't have too strong feelings about Eagles at all. But I'll say this: like, okay, Ishimori, right? We've seen him have singles matches. We know how good he is. But in these matches, I think I've been a little disappointed in Ishimori's performances because he's kind of just going through the motions. But even when he's going through the motions,
it's still great.
You can tell that he is a superstar. Now, Robbie Eagles is still a young guy, so I'm not totally down on him. It's his first tour of Japan. This might just be like the first step. I mean, Will Ospreay wasn't always Will Ospreay, and these guys have to grow, and so we're gonna give him time. But I don't know that. I mean, he might be a good addition to the New Japan roster because it's probably like a tryout, but the hype behind him was like he's already there, and from what I'm seeing, he's not already there.
Yeah.
And I haven't been impressed with this team as a unit very much at all. I think the match has been very regular, and I'm not like clamoring to see them continue to tag after this at all.
Yeah, same here. I kind of wish that Bull Club was still kind of one unit, and B, the Jericho Cruise was like a week later, so we could got Ishimori and Skrull as a team.
Yeah,
I feel like that would have been a better team.
What's weird though? Even when this tournament was coming up, I always knew that they would not team together. Like, you just knew that they weren't going to wind up teaming.
Yeah,
like, they weren't even they're both part of the Bullet Club, and they weren't even in the same like world. It seemed like I've never seen them on screen.
Yeah, they have.
Did they wrestle? They wrestled each other like once in a multi-man, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they did the 6-man tag.
Yeah,
and that's it. So I mean, that would have been a better. Would it have been a better team? I don't know. Skrull hasn't had like the best year. He's had some bangers here in New Japan, but this year's been kind of down a little bit. Compared to other years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting off on that gimmick. He's a smart man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not seeing worker Marty the way that we have it. I mean, think about his best Super Juniors. Remember, we were like, yeah, it's just okay.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah.
What's the grade for these guys?
I'm gonna go C. I'm gonna give him a C.
I'm gonna go C minus.
Wow. Yeah. You're going. You know what? I could see that because for the talent level, they should have been the best team in the tournament.
Yeah.
They should have been the best team in the entire freaking tournament. It's not all their fault. There's booking decisions, time constraints,
house shows,
this and that.
Yeah.
But this didn't look like two hungry guys that were looking to, and don't get me wrong, Ishimori's there, but he's still not like established. You know what I mean? This was an opportunity for them to like really make a statement, make a mark. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go C-.
Oh, man. I swayed the young boy.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're out. They're out of the tournament. So from this point on, everybody that we're talking about has been eliminated. There's with Kanemaru and Desperado jumping to 10 points and Bushi and Shingo, you have to. There's only 2 matches left, and so either you're done or you. The only team that's still in contention is Roppongi 3K. We'll talk about that finale scenario here in just a moment. But yeah, Ishimori and Eagles, they are eliminated, and the next team we're going to talk about is also eliminated.
Yeah, the Friends of Alex Shelley, Time Machine, the team of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Kushida, and Chris Sabin. So, what should be your thought about Time Machine?
Time Machine has been weird to me. Yeah, it's been very, very weird. You would think like Kushida and Chris Sabin on paper would make all the sense in the world as a tag team, and I think you've enjoyed them quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I've been loving them. I've been loving all the throwback, combos of Motor City Machine Guns and Time Splitters. I feel like they work very well together.
I don't know why I wasn't feeling it, and it kind of reminded me of Chris Sabin's run through Best of the Super Juniors. For whatever reason, I just wasn't invested. Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say there. They took on Super 69 on day 6 of the tournament. They actually defeated ACH and Taguchi via submission on that night. On night 7, they took on, let me see here. I have so many tabs pulled up on my iPad.
Night 7, they took on the team of Tiger Mask and Liger, the opening junior tag match.
Yep, they ended up defeating them in what was a really good 10-minute tag match, honestly. That night 7 card was I'm going to keep saying it was the best night of the entire
tournament, yeah.
Tournament and the Power Struggle shows. And then on night 8, they ended up taking on, let's see here.
They took on the Bullet Club team.
Yep, Ishimori and Robbie Eagles, dropping a pinfall loss to them at 12 minutes, 30 seconds, 3.5 stars. And I guess the one thing I could say about them is, like, everything seemed to be good on paper. I mean, they got matching gear. They both had that connection to Alex Shelley. They both had previous, tag experience with Alex Shelley where they were, established tag teams. Tag moves, the whole attitude and everything, and it seemed to kind of fit like a glove. And most of their matches, if you watch them, there's nothing technically wrong with them. It was all fine on paper, but I don't think they had a single match that I would call more than good.
Right. With Kushida and Sabin, it's like both those guys are great workers, and you expect them, once again, it's almost like an Ishimori thing. You expect, a little bit more out of those guys. I
expect a lot more out of them.
Especially Kushida. The thing with Sabin, and I've mentioned this when we talked about him in Best of Super Juniors, I do feel like a lot of Sabin's explosiveness has kind of reduced due to his multiple knee surgeries, and I don't think he's quite at the level that he was when he was in Impact a few years ago. And so I feel like he's just kind of like, I expect, I've said several times I'm a big Chris Sabin mark.
Yeah.
I loved him in singles in the X Division. I loved him as Motor City Machine Guns.
How about that TNA title run, baby?
Yeah, when he beat
like, I was joking, but you just marked for it?
Yeah. Dude, I was all about the Chris Sabin world title run. And then, so I have that visualization. Like, I'm thinking, when I think Chris Sabin, I'm thinking about, him versus, like, Michael Shane and Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. And I'm picturing that high-paced Impact Chris Sabin. And he's, quite a step behind that now.
Yeah.
And so I love him, but then he gets out there and it's not quite what I expect.
Okay, well, let me say this. I obviously am taking a somewhat negative stance on the Time Machine tag team, but I would say, generally speaking, it seemed like the reactions to them have been mostly positive, and most of the feedback, people seem to actually enjoy this tag team and kind of be into it. You being one of those people.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you think is working about this team, and why do you like them, and what do you see going forward?
Well, I think just like I mentioned earlier, just they gelled really well together as a team. I felt like they had great ring awareness, knowing where each other were. A lot of great double team combos. They had the matching gear, the glasses. Just everything about them just kind of gelled together. Okay.
What did you think about the fact that they ended up only going 3-3 basically up to this point?
It's honestly, to me, it's not that surprising thinking about some of the other teams in this tournament, because you got to think about it. Chris Sabin's not a full-time New Japan guy, and Kushida is a singles champion. So both of those guys have no future in the tag division. So why would you push them, higher towards to the top of this tournament if there's no plans to push those guys going forward?
Yeah,
you got Shingo and Bushi. This tournament was all about Shingo. You have the current champion, Suzuki Gun. You got to keep them strong. And then Sho and Yo, the team that's kind of like your backbone of the division for the last year, you got to keep them strong. So it's like there's only, once again, in a small tournament like this, there are only so many teams that you can push. There are only so many teams that you can keep strong. And when it comes down to it, Kushida and Chris Sabin, they just, they weren't priority in this tournament.
Couple things here. Obviously, they did keep them in the middle of the pack. So, I mean, they ended up, like we said, with 6 points. So they weren't, like, taking all the pinfall losses. Sabin, in most cases, was taking the pinfalls. What I want to say about that, though, is it's interesting because Sabin finds himself in a very similar position now as he did at Best of Super Juniors. He hadn't been in New Japan prior to this year for a long time. I think the last time was 2010 when TNA was still doing their partnership with New Japan.
The Machine Guns were over there.
They've kind of kept him in a safe little cushy spot this year. Like, they brought him to Super Juniors. Sure, I mean, can he handle taking a pinfall loss and putting over a top guy? Yeah, but he's not coming in and he's not going to be at the bottom of the list. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it does seem that they are investing somewhat into Chris Sabin, which it has me questioning whether they should or shouldn't be doing that. Because Sabin's a great talent, but he is an older guy. And I mean, I think about like ACH, who I think they should be actively trying to sign, versus like a Sabin, who they're keeping somewhat protected and strong in these tournaments. And they kind of did that here too. Like, yeah, he took some pinfall losses, but their team, they have a whole gimmick and everything like that. But the last two things I want to talk about, and I'm surprised we're spending so much time on this team, but there's a lot to kind of talk about.
Yeah, there's one thing we definitely...
Two. Well, you got one, so go ahead.
Yeah, the fact that Kushida took a pinfall loss to Ishimori.
Yes, absolutely.
So
that is exactly what I was going to touch on.
Yeah, Ishimori, he's had backstage promos, saying, I pinned Kushida. And so I think we on this show mentioned that Ishimori was probably going to be a guy that's challenging for the singles title at the Dome. That's
what's made the most sense to me, yeah.
Yeah, so him getting the pinfall victory over Kushida made all sense in the world, and now he has a right to a title match now.
And remember, this was my pick for Super Junior finale, the one that I convinced all our fan base to send in their I literally
swayed everybody.
I swayed so many people.
Worked everybody.
I was freaking wrong. That's one of the worst calls I've ever made on this show. It's really bad, but it's bad because people actually listened and actually voted that way.
Yeah,
and no other publication was I seeing that vote being a popular vote. We're dumb.
They trust the young boy, man.
I guess so. But yeah, I do think that this is going to lead to a title match with them. I'm just wondering, do you think you do it at the Dome, or you think obviously it's not going to be, there's not enough time for them to do it at Power Struggle, right?
I don't, maybe there is.
You think that they're going to announce a match like that on short notice?
Hey, we've gotten cards barely a week before, so who knows?
Is there anywhere else where you could see it taking place? Possibly. Do you think that is a big enough match for the junior title that they protect that all the way till the Dome? Or do they do that, say, between now and January?
It's possible they do that between now and January. There are several Road 2 shows that will be happening between now and there. We've got the World Tag League, and there's going to be a Road to Tokyo Dome show. So it's possible maybe it could happen somewhere in between there.
I feel like that would be a mistake. I don't think. Now, my only thing with that is, are we going to see Kushida? I mean, obviously, you have to imagine, let's say that they do end up doing that match. You have to set up some sort of recurring multi-man match that involves both of these guys. Kushida typically teams with Taguchi Japan type characters.
Right, so you'd probably have Taguchi Japan against Bullet Club.
Is that a realistic scenario? Going into going through Tag League and going into the Dome?
So in Tag League, you're probably gonna have, obviously God is gonna be in there. So that leaves what? Fale, Switchblade, Gedo, Jado.
I'm just wondering if that is gonna be with the stuff going on with Chaos and the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Going into the Dome, you would think that those two factions will be the multi-man matches, and I'm just wondering how that will play into, maybe they keep them apart. Maybe they don't do the multi-man matches. Maybe they keep them apart till the Dome. I don't know. So it remains yet to be seen, but it does seem like Ishimori getting a pinfall over Kushida.
Unless you run like Ishimori and Gedo against Kushida and Taguchi.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. That's definitely a way to go. So, I mean, the last thing here, obviously Kushida and Sabin are knocked out of this tournament. We've got 2 more days left, and I believe on the final day it's going to be Shonyo taking on Time Machine.
Yeah.
What are the chances that we see Kushida and Sabin grab the upset and play spoiler to Roppongi 3K?
I think there is a big chance for that. If you pay attention to the way that Gedo has been booking tournaments the last few years, he usually does book a upset spoiler match towards the end of these things, and the team you expect to win and advance doesn't, and they get upset by a team. So I think there is a good chance. There's a chance on the table that Time Machine, especially Kushida being the junior heavyweight champion, Time Machine could upset Roppongi 3K, and that would stop a tie. And normally Gedo does not book ties in his tournament, so it would make sense to beat Shonyo. That way you only have Suzuki-gun and LIJ tying, and then they go to the finals.
Well, we'll talk about finale scenarios here in just a moment, but I'm right there with you. I feel you. So, I mean, I guess last question, and then we'll move on to the last 3 teams. What rating are you giving Time Machine?
I think I'm gonna give them a C+.
I'm gonna go C. I think they were a C team. So we've spent a lot of time, but do you think we'll see this team again in the future?
I think so. These guys are teaming up a lot on the Global Wars Tour, Ring of Honor New Japan Tour. So I'm definitely think we'll be seeing more Time Machine in the future, and I'm sure, who knows, for those multi-man matches, you bring in Kushida and Sabin against Ishimori and Gedo, Ishimori and Jado, or somebody, something like that.
Good stuff. So let's talk about Super 69, ACH and Ryusuke Taguchi.
Yeah, man. I mean, these guys have been entertaining throughout the tournament. A lot of Taguchi antics with the hip attack based offense, the rugby plays, the getting blown up in the middle of the match, getting his fingers shoved up his butt.
I'm just gonna say this. Aside from the sodomy, I totally love Super 69. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
Yeah, I would feel like you wouldn't like them.
I know, right?
That's why I'm surprised. I'm like, really?
And let me just throw this out there. Some of the shenanigans in these matches, I just think don't really have a good place in wrestling. You know what I mean? If I wanted that stuff, I'd watch DDT. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's New Japan. So
we're watching Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah, we watched some Nakazawa, some Nog matches.
Come here, skinny boy.
Yeah, I love Michael Nakazawa, but Oh, and another thing, so they've been coming out there, and someone pointed this out on Twitter or on the Reddit, but they were absolutely right, and I noticed this was like they come out there with like the the rugby polos and the helmets and stuff, but like that they're throwing an actual football. It's not even a rugby ball. Like rugby's like popular in Japan. I don't think it would be that hard to get an actual rugby ball.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny, but no, yeah, I think their antics have been. The reason I like this team is they have stuck out and been something fresh. Even though a lot of their matches, they're doing some of the same stuff, they are that comic relief. But then you have ACH just being a dynamo in the ring. Like, I mean, I would say for a single individual's performance, aside from Shingo, he's my number 2 guy in the whole tournament.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough to lift them to give him like a really high grade, especially considering that they ended up with a 6 point. But I mean, ACH is just freaking incredible, man.
Yeah, dude. He's on another level. And he's one of those guys where I'm like, why aren't more promotions like fighting over this guy and trying to push him hard? But who knows? His future is kind of, questionable right now. He did his farewell AAW. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. He's been featured on MLW TV a lot.
This company needs him. They need to be signing him. Otherwise, he's going to wind up on the Largo loop. And we're going to see him in Min-Ring Hall, for $10 on a Saturday night.
We're going to see ACH against Dan Maffa.
We're going to see ACH taking on Fabian Eichner, and it's going to be mediocre. So yeah, I'd much rather see him in Super Juniors and see him take on the best juniors in the world. But I've loved their antics. They've been cracking me up. The whole Taguchi coach thing where he has him, he keeps spinning him through and he's doing the forever clotheslines until they get exhausted. They can't keep going.
Yeah.
Just ACH coming out doing all the anime.
Yeah, super.
I love it. So I'm really into this team. And I'm not even the biggest Taguchi fan or even fan of Taguchi Japan, but I like this team.
And they're over. They're over. When they beat Roppongi 3K and they were doing their promo, the crowd was going crazy. Taguchi Japan.
Yeah.
Taguchi Japan.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think that that match was, like I said, probably the second best match of the tournament. But other than that, it's not like they've had blowaway, performances. They taking a look at their record here. They dropped losses to LIJ. They dropped losses to Time Machine. They're the only team that lost to the CMLL team.
Yeah.
And they dropped a loss to the Bullet Club. So I mean, them beating Roppongi 3K was like a huge upset. And then they also beat Kanemaru and Desperado.
Yeah, another upset right there.
Big upset.
If they book ACH, I mean, these guys, they beat the champs.
They could have a future title shot down the line. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, though, and say I'm going to give them a C+. That's my C+ team.
I think for me, I'm a flat C on them.
I gotcha. So we got our last 2 teams here at the very bottom, and I think we can kind of just lump them in together and just discuss. So we got Jushin Thunder Liger and Tiger Mask sitting at 4 points, and then the CMLL team Volador Jr. and Soberano with 2 points. So they picked up just 1 win here.
Yeah.
And what do you think? What were your thoughts about these 2 teams?
So Tiger and Liger, overall, I thought they were good. I mean, I'm not expecting anything blow away from these guys at this stage in the game. I mean, they still have good matches for their age, and they're still very good workers. But, I'm not expecting anything outstanding. And they did have some good matches, and they picked up some wins, more wins than I expected them to pick up in the tournament.
They beat LIJ.
Yeah.
Very surprising.
Yeah, Tiger Mask cradling up Bushi there.
Yep.
So, I mean, overall,
I enjoyed Tiger Mask and Jushin Thunder Liger for whatever reason. I think the reason I liked the Roppongi 3K match was just because it was it's not too long ago that these guys were literally murdering those dudes as young boys.
In that match, it almost was a callback to that. I mean, Tiger was slapping around these guys. Both of them were kind of treating them like they were young boys.
But Show and Yo were working like they weren't working like young boys. They're working like we're stars now. You gotta respect what we can do.
Disrespect will not be tolerated.
So they were showing off quite a bit, doing a lot of flashy stuff. I noticed, like they weren't like they weren't being like young boys trying to go toe to toe with them and show their toughness. Like, well, Show did a bit, but Show and Yo were doing a lot of flashy stuff, a lot of counter wrestling, and they're showing them like why they're the best tag team in the division.
Right,
so.
and the Roppongi 3K beat them, and they shook hands after the match. They earned their respect.
But I just always like Tiger Mask and Liger. I mean, for whatever reason, I just always enjoy seeing them go out there. I think it's because they have a bit of a like grittier, less finessed sort of style to what they're doing versus the modern, junior style where everyone's so smooth and they're high flyers. And Liger and Tiger out there palm striking folks and doing freaking brain busters and
Tiger suplexes.
Yeah, and I like it. Yeah. So I always like to see them go out there. It was cool because they have never picked up a win in this tournament. So I mean, they picked up couple big wins, and I enjoyed them. For Tiger and Liger, I'm gonna go C.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Flat C. Then for Volador and Soberano Jr., for me, I mean, this team, it was kind of a letdown, to be honest.
Huge letdown.
I mean, Soberano Jr., he did very well during the Fantastica Mania tour earlier this year, so I was pretty excited to see him again, but I feel like he was really hit or miss in this tournament. I feel like a lot of his spots and transitions are a little bit sloppy, some of his dives. I don't know if he was nervous or what the deal was, but he wasn't. He didn't perform as well he did during Fantastica Mania. And Volador Jr., it's so weird seeing him with the haircut. It doesn't feel like Volador with the short hair and the goatee. And, I feel like most of the time, too, he was kind of mailing it in and not giving it 100%, which I can't blame him. I mean, you're in this tournament to lose the majority of the matches, and once again, we mentioned, the house show run that you're going on, so you're not going to kill yourself, especially you're not a main guy in this promotion.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it before. This tournament's not designed to, like, really establish these guys or give them a lot of mainstream notoriety or anything like that. So, and they were brought in to be the international team and to put over the Japanese guys. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, right. Like we talked about last week, traditionally during the single elimination version of these tournaments, the CMLL team, they're just like Tiger and Liger. They're out of there the first round. They're usually not getting wins and going far in these types of tournaments. I mean, they perform better in the single, the best of Super Juniors.
Do you think this would have happened if it was Volador and Dragon Lee?
No, I think it would be a completely different story.
I agree.
I feel like they would have at least been in the middle of the pack with 6 points, maybe even 8 points, because Dragon Lee is a guy that's consistently pushed in New Japan. Even though he is, full-time CMLL guy, anytime he's in New Japan, he's usually winning or in big matches, and he's consistently booked in New Japan more than any other CMLL guy right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I do think it's worth mentioning the Lucha Libre style versus the Puroresu style are totally different things. They work from entirely different sides.
Yeah.
We've seen this before, and I'll just throw a famous scenario out there. When Mystico went to WWE, he was the best luchador in the world. It was one of the largest international signings that had ever taken place, and he was a huge disappointment on the main roster because it's a totally different style.
Yeah, in Mexico, those guys, they attack like the right side of the body, where everybody else around the world, they attack the left side of the body.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, some of the greatest luchadors who have ever been able to kind of transition, you look at your Rays, you look at your Eddies, and these are guys who are able to kind of like go to California and learn the American style. They're able to go to, ECW and go to WCW and still continue to work with luchadors, but also learn the American style and kind of then go to Japan and learn how to work the Japanese style and do multiple tours. And like, it's not like Soberano's 25 and he's had 2 tours of New Japan, and the first one he was wrestling all luchadors. So this is the first time I think ever
he wrestled.
He's been wrestling, Puroresu type guys with the house style of New Japan. So anyone who's telling me that this, I've watched Soberano. I watched him in CMLL. I've seen him plenty of times. He's great.
Yeah.
So I mean, anyone who's like he's hit and miss. Well, it's like A, these guys weren't that motivated first off, but B, he's young and he's not used to the style. And I don't want to get into a whole like breakdown of the difference in the styles, but I mean, you could take I'm just trying to think of Sho and Yo, they know how to work that style. I'm just trying to think of someone in this tournament that's young that like you send him over there, he probably wouldn't do as well. Actually, a lot of these guys have been to CML. A lot of these guys have been, but I don't know, like, what's his face is over there right now, Kawato.
Yeah.
And there's reports that he's having a tough time adjusting to their style. So, I mean, it takes time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think anyone can really judge Soberano off this one.
Right, and I'm not saying, I'm kind of down on him, but I'm not saying he's a horrible wrestler and he's trash or anything, just that right here, like you mentioned, like the experience factor just didn't play out well here for him. And like we mentioned in Fantastica Mania, he's wrestling with luchadors. I mean, he was phenomenal.
You want my opinion? People might think I'm wrong. I think Soberano's better than Robbie Eagles. I don't think necessarily that he had better matches in this tournament, but from what I've seen of Soberano and what I've seen of Robbie Eagles, as far as work goes, I'd take Soberano any day.
I have not seen a one-on-one Robbie Eagles match yet.
I mean, I could be wrong. Hey, if you're listening, you think I'm wrong, disprove me. But from what I've seen of Soberano, the guy's a fantastic worker. And from what I've seen of Eagles, like he's really good too. But I prefer Soberano, and I prefer his matches that I've seen so far. So that's my take on it.
Hot take. I guarantee somebody's gonna jump in the comments on that one.
I almost guarantee someone. Actually, I think if you sit back and you actually think about it, and you're like objective about it, there might be some truth to what I'm saying there.
Yeah.
Like Robbie Eagles might not be as good as Soberano. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are really, really down on him for being sloppy. So that's gonna do it for our grade. Oh, what would you have given this team?
C-.
D+.
Ooh. I
mean, still at the end of the day, I still have criticisms. My criticisms are lack of passion, they were like supposed to be the high flying team, and I mean, yeah, they did like that their same couple spots every night, but it was nothing. They didn't need to have those guardrails gone like they do for Fantastica Mania, because these guys didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And their matches were just, I thought that they probably had the weakest matches of the entire tournament.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go D+.
Boom.
Yeah. So we got to move on, but before we do, let's talk about predictions and finales.
Right. So here's the situation here. The teams that are still alive: Suzuki-gun, LIJ, Roppongi 3K. If Roppongi 3K defeats Time Machine, there will be a 3-way tie in which all these teams have beaten each other, which means we would get a triple threat final. That is a possibility. The only thing that makes me think against that is just how Gato traditionally books tournaments. He usually does not book a 3-way tie and do a 3-way final main event. So I'm leaning more towards a Time Machine upset over Sho and Yo. I mean, they beat Suzuki-gun in the tournament. They still have a claim to a tag title shot. So it wouldn't be a complete, bullet to them if they lose a Time Machine. And then I do the finals of Kanemaru and Desperado against LIJ. You can have LIJ get their win back on Suzuki-gun.
So I'm really torn on this whole thing, right? Because we've criticized this company earlier in the year for going back to the era where we had, triple threats and 4-way tag team matches instead of focusing on story-driven, rivalries within this division, right?
Right.
And then we've actually gotten pretty much this match 3 times this year before this. If you exchange Shingo for Hiromu, how many times did LIJ, Roppongi 3K, and Suzuki-gun have title matches? Was it 3?
I believe so.
2 or 3? I can't remember.
I think it was. Were you talking about just a triple threat?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 or 3. I think.
So this would essentially, if they end up doing the triple threat based off of factions, this would be the 3rd time we're pretty much getting a continuation of that same rivalry.
Right, but I mean,
in
also,
a form.
Yeah, and those 3 teams, I mean, they feuded beginning part of the year. Was either one-on-one between those teams or the triple threats.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm really not. But you know what I'm not a fan of? I'm not a fan of watching LIJ and Suzuki-gun have 3 singles tag matches in the span of a few months. Because they already wrestled on this block. Then they're going to wrestle at Power Struggle. And, you know, Suzuki-gun are the champions. The title's not on the line. So if they win, then they're on top of the division. No, they're probably going to, in that scenario, I would have to assume LIJ beats them. And then what? Now we've got a
third one-on-one.
A third one-on-one match for the title? That just seems redundant. So I got to say, I think we're going to a triple threat scenario. And I'm not that surprised. You're right. In the past, Gato really hasn't done that sort of booking, but when you look at some of the early tournaments that New Japan has done when it's single block, they've done a lot of like 3-way ties in the past. The way they usually blow it off is not with they didn't have triple threats back in the day. We're talking like in the 80s, essentially. They would usually do like a round robin
between the 3 dudes
on the same night.
Gotcha.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think we'll just end up with the triple threat, which makes sense. I really think it would be a big misstep to knock Sho and Yo out of this, because what happens with them afterwards?
Well, they have a claim for a title match. They beat Suzuki-gun.
Yeah, but then what happens afterwards? What are they going to do at Power Struggle?
Chill.
That sounds awful. No, I don't think they're doing that. I think they're going with the triple threat. Now, we've been running our contest, and I believe we're pretty close to having a winner. We're going to announce that soon. But did anybody predict this kind of scenario?
When I checked, I don't think so. I'll have a double check later, but everybody's picked one-on-one matches for the finals.
Yeah.
I think nobody really thought about, I don't think anybody really thought, because of how Ghetto's booked these tournaments the last few years, nobody's thought about a triple threat scenario.
I think I think it makes sense to do the triple threat with these 3 teams. I'm just not a big fan of it, but I would be much less inclined to see Suzuki-gun and LIJ in 3 singles matches. So
yeah.
I think that's the way we're going. I think we're getting a triple threat. I think we're getting a 3-way tie. That makes the most sense to me. Are you who do you have winning this thing? You still going with Roppongi 3K?
I don't know, man. They were my pick originally, but I think Bushi and Shingo are winning this thing.
That was my pick, and I'm almost leaning against it now. We're at that time of the year where you have to start thinking about Wrestle Kingdom, and I'm like, well, what are these guys? What is the trajectory? What are all these guys going to be doing? And with Sho and Yo, they're a tag team. You know what they might be doing. Desperado and Kanemaru, kind of the same thing. Bushi and Shingo, that's a little different because maybe they keep tagging together. Maybe you kind of split them up. I don't know. But, I mean, if they're not in the junior tag
title match,
title picture, then what are we looking at? Like a 6-man gauntlet with them? And like Sonata or Evil?
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like, do we see them going to, if they lose, what happens? If they win, then we kind of,
yeah.
Then they're kind of inserted into that junior title match.
Essentially, I think we're gonna get some kind of multi-man tag title match at Wrestle Kingdom.
I think so too,
like we normally do.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, that's what this division deserves because that's the kind of booking they got this year. And say what you want about how strong Kanemaru and Desperado's title reign was, but I mean, they defended the title like 4 times in the course of almost a whole year. Not that strong.
Yeah.
No good So I mean, yeah, I think that's where we're going. I think we're getting I think we're getting the 6-man. I'm still taking Bushi and Shingo, but I really think Roppongi 3K is probably gonna win this thing.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man.
I'm still sticking with my pick, Bushi and Shingo, but I'm not gonna be surprised. I think Roppongi 3K is gonna get the come from behind babyface win, the one that we thought that they should have been getting.
Right. I mean, that's what originally I was thinking, but I mean, they're all aboard the Shingo train right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it out too.
Overall, what would you rate this tournament?
As far as like grade, probably C.
C.
Flat C.
Flat C. So
I mean, the matches, there's nothing quite above. I mean, 4 stars was pretty much the ceiling for this tournament. With all the talent in this thing, I expected way better. The house shows with no commentary kind of killed it.
Oh yeah, I didn't even really touch on that, but like the having no commentary. Now when we were watching Best of the Super Juniors, we were all about it, but that's because those matches had a lot
fire.
Yeah. These matches, when you have a lot, either them all over the place and the camera's having trouble following them, or they're just laying around like selling, there's not much going on. It's really it was difficult to kind of follow, honestly, and it was difficult to keep me interested or to make these matches memorable. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk about the Road to Power Struggle, the last 2 nights, and that's going to lead us into our preview for Power Struggle and our predictions here. So on night 7 as well as night 8, we had these shows over in Corkin Hall, and we essentially got a replay or a very similar match structure to what they'd done on night 1 and night 2. So we ended up with the Young Lions 6-man tag to kind of open up both shows. And they did something very similar where they had Hinare on one of the teams the first night, and then they switched it out for Hanma the second night. So on night 7, we got the team of Yota Tsuji, Shota Umino, and Toa Hinare taking on Yuya Uemura, Ren Narita, and Aota Yoshida. And then the second night, essentially the same thing. We got Hanma, Umino, Narita taking on Uemura, Tsuji, and Yoshida. And the main thing, I mean, we've been talking quite a bit every show about how good these matches are. But I mean, I'll say this, out of everything, and this is my opinion, out of everything on these full shows, these Young Lions matches have been the best thing on all 4 shows.
I mean, they are very good. I mean, I do think some of the LIJ or Roppongi 3K stuff and like the LIJ, what was the LIJ, or what was the other? Roppongi 3K and Super 69. I
mean, I've been liking the Chaos and Bullet Club multi-man matches as well. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this stuff's been...
Well, yes, Young Lion stuff has been like very, very good. I mean, you got Narita in there. We've been singing his praises, just how great he is. Mm-hmm. You know, Umino, he's kind of the senpai, young boy that they've been pushing. And then you got the newcomers, Tsuji and Uemura, who they have just made, leaps and bounds of improvement since they've been on the scene. And man, dude, I've been loving Tsuji, man. I've been saying this, but Tsuji, man, he's got the size. He's looking great. He knows his way around the ring a little bit better now. He has a nasty missile drop kick. He's looking great.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time kind of discussing these guys, but you know me. I'm right there with you. I highly recommend these matches and all these guys. But 2 things I thought were interesting. On night 7, Umino actually picked up the pinfall victory in a match where Hinare and Yoshida, who are both non-young boys, were both involved with the match. I thought that was
very interesting. Yeah.
And then was it Uemura or was it Ren Narita who had that amazing Northern Lights belly to belly?
I think I want to say it was Uemura on Narita.
Oh my God. I've never seen that in my entire fandom of wrestling. This dude literally got double underhooks with a body lock like he's like a Greco-Roman throw.
Yeah.
And tossed this dude above his head and
bridged with it.
And bridged with the Northern Lights. That is just a thing of beauty. So
yeah.
I highly recommend these Young Lions matches. I mean, they're just awesome. And then following that, we had Suzuki-gun against Chaos. So we had Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano on night 7 taking on Suzuki and Taka Michinoku. And then night 8, they switched out Toru Yano for Hiroki Goto. So the first night, Ishii and Yano go over. But, I mean, the story of this match essentially was just the brutality between Suzuki and Ishii.
Yes, oh my gosh, those guys are killing each other out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that we haven't seen from them before. We've seen several matches from them in different promotions, and then also like the mostly the Rev Pro stuff. But obviously, these two guys are going to be battling over the Rev Pro British title at Power Struggle. So I'm just so excited for that. These guys have been going into the post-fight conferences and brawling.
yeah.
Which has been pretty wild. So it's like it almost gives you the feeling like they've never stopped fighting.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and plus anytime you give me Toru Yano and Minoru Suzuki shenanigans, I'm all about that.
Feud of the Year candidate last year.
Yeah, and our awards are just around the corner.
Yeah.
But one of the big stories was on night 8. Essentially, Hiroki Goto and Tomohiro Ishii picked up the win, defeating Taka Michinoku, and they had Taichi on commentary on the outside, watching his teammates basically lose. And then Goto put forth the challenge to Taichi.
And Taichi was like, nah.
Which we actually didn't get to announce it. We were kind of speculating last week, but, the title match with Will Ospreay and Taichi has been canceled.
Yeah.
So at this point, the Never title match has kind of been in question. And, yeah, Goto, try to challenge Taichi. And Taichi, he don't want the smoke.
Yeah. But, the Bookers outruled Taichi, and now it's officially going to be Hiroki Goto challenging Taichi for the Never Openweight title at Power Struggle.
Taichi actually put up like a Twitter poll asking fans what they wanted to have happen, like have him defend the belt or, basically against Goto, anybody but Goto, or I think one of the possibilities was to just abandon the title entirely. So very, very interesting stuff. I think Goto was probably like the leading guy to be in that position.
Yeah, we have a question here from Zach Porter. He says, now that Goto is in Ospreay's spot for Power Struggle, was there someone you would have liked to see get a shot at the title before Goto did?
The crown jewel. The only crown jewel in wrestling that matters. Chase Owens. Bang, bang.
Oh, my gosh.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that given the time frame and the scope that there is anyone that they could realistically fit into that on short notice.
And for me, I was just so invested in Ospreay getting that match. Like, I hadn't even crossed my mind thinking of somebody else to challenge.
Taichi's like kind of interesting because sometimes he's like the fans are very against him, but on that night when Goto challenged him, it seemed like a pro Taichi crowd.
It did, yeah, it did.
So very, very interesting, and we'll talk more about that in the predictions. But the third match, so we ended up with Kota Ibushi teaming with Yujiro and Chase Owens, taking on what I like to call Tanahashi and friends. So we had Tanahashi, Togi Makabe, and Toa Hanare on night 8.
Great bash face.
Well, on night 7, it was Makabe and Hanma. Yeah. So it's so weird seeing Tanahashi team with these guys. They might as well be Great Bash Face at this point.
Yeah, or like you said, Great Bash Ace.
Oh yeah, Great Bash Ace. Hey. Yeah. So we've seen this match. Very good stuff, but I mean, it's been interesting seeing Ibushi and Tanahashi kind of be like the go-to feud and what these stories are kind of circulating around versus there's no Kenny Omega. He's out on a cruise ship right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, Kota Ibushi's even mentioned this in some of his post-match interviews.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I like the story of Ibushi being trapped in the middle between, somebody he's idolized his whole life in Hiroshi Tanahashi and his best friend and tag team partner, Kenny Omega. And just, we've been seeing Tanahashi trying to get Ibushi to, submit to his philosophy of wrestling and to sign a full-time New Japan contract. And, Tanahashi wants Ibushi to take his role. And then you got Kenny, on the other hand, he wants Ibushi. We told him that the triple threat, know your place. He just wants Ibushi to be by his side. So...
Yeah, so I mean, I would be a big fan of that, and that's not to say that anything that you're saying right now hasn't happened or anything like that. It's all happened. It's just so understated. I guess the problem I have is that there's no Kenny.
Yeah, it does hurt the feud with Kenny not being there.
And Kota Ibushi's mentioned this in his post-fight interviews. He's like, am I just... a placeholder for Kenny, is this them forwarding their feud through me? And he was like basically saying how he didn't want to be like a forgotten character or just like a stand-in basically, which I totally agree with. I mean, the Tokyo Dome is far away, but it does seem like, at this point they got Tanahashi and his crew just taking on, Ibushi and Takahashi and Chase Owens, the guys that are, if the Elite all leave, these are the guys that are going to get left behind.
Yeah, they're the odd mans out in this whole Bullet Club War stuff.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, every time I see Ibushi and Tanahashi go at it, I want to see that. I want to see that again. Their match at, in the G1 Finals was just so phenomenal. And of course, I'm all in on Tanahashi and Omega, but I think Omega needs to be here to kind of build this thing if they're going to build it. I'm not a big fan of this Ibushi, Takahashi, Owens trio taking on Tanahashi's crew. It's just not that juicy to me. Yeah. If the aim is to build towards Kenny. And the other thing, too, is I don't see Kenny working the tag league.
Yeah. So
what's going to... I mean, last year, part of the build... to seeing Okada and Naito is that they were in multi-man matches against one another, the preview matches. Are we even going to get preview matches with Tanahashi and Omega before then?
I would hope so.
Are we getting that at Power Struggle?
Yes, we are. It's Golden Lovers against Tanahashi and David Finlay.
Okay. And then but I bet you Kenny only comes in for that and then comes in for the tag finals. And then the road to shows, and that's all we're getting. We might see these guys go 3 or 4 times. It's what's Tanahashi gonna be doing that whole time? It's just really, I don't know, just real interesting stuff.
We do have a question here about the whole Tanahashi Omega stuff from Reddit user Asahi Yojumbo. He says,
"Ooh, Yojimbo, that's a great movie."
He says, if Tanahashi does win the IWGP Championship and Kenny Omega leaves, who does Tanahashi defend his title against, and what should his reign look like?
Defends it against me. The young boy. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think if Tanahashi wins, I definitely think a defense against Okada makes sense. A defense against Naito. I think a defense against Kota Ibushi, who's been caught in the middle of this, all makes kind of sense. If Tanahashi does win the belt again, I don't see him having a very long title run. I feel like it would be a transitional run to get the belt to somebody else they want to push for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jay White's another guy you could kind of throw into that.
That's true. Yeah. Jay White, yeah.
If you want to pull the trigger on Jay White, I don't know if they would be ready to do that. I think it would be a misstep at this point, although I think it's inevitable that happens probably eventually. I would say that you either go, if Kenny's gone, you either have him drop the belt to Ibushi. As crazy as that sounds, I'm just talking from a logical story point standpoint. Mm-hmm. You can transition that into an Ibushi title reign for the first time because of the whole thing with Kenny. But more realistically, I'd like to see him lose it to Naito and make Naito the man and give him that title run that everybody wants to, see him get. I know that they had a feud a couple years ago over the IC title, but this kind of could be, there's some distance there from that. And I think that could be a special thing, possibly.
All right, so what do we got next?
So the last match to kind of close out the Power Struggle review, or the Road to review. So we've been getting these 10-man tags between the new Bull. I don't even want to call them the OG Bull Club. They're the new Bull Club, just like Vince McMahon. And all you got to do is say the new Blackjacks, the new Rock and Roll Express, the new Rockers,
the new Bullet Club.
Yeah. So essentially, we got the new Bullet Club. So we got Jay White, Fale, Tamatanga, Tangaloa, and Gato taking on the team of Kazuchika Okada, Hiroki Goto, Trent Beretta, Chucky T, and Rocky Romero. And then on night 8, they switched it out for Goto for basically what's her name? Yano. Yep. And I thought these matches have been really good.
Yeah, they have really been good. I mean, they've been very heated. I mean, you can feel the tension between both sides of the team. It's been great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, and I think it's been kind of like obviously the tension between Jay White and Okada. That's kind of the big what they're building towards, and what's being teased. But the stuff with Rocky Romero has been the standout in those matches.
I mean, even on commentary at the beginning of the tour, he's like, I just want 5 minutes with Jay White. I want 5 minutes with Gato. He's like, I know I'm probably not going to win, but I just want to get my hand on those guys so badly.
Yeah.
And Rocky had great spots in both of those 10-man tags where he did get a chance to get in there with Jay White and a chance to get in there with Gato. And finally, get his hand on those guys.
Yeah. So on the first night, Jay White ended up getting just this incredible counter into the
the Blade Runner,
into the Blade Runner, and he ended up defeating Rocky Romero. And then on the second night, I believe Gato ended up picking up the win over Rocky as well.
Jay White came back in, hit the Blade Runner on Rocky again, and then he put Gato on top of him.
Yeah, so both nights Bullet Club kind of going over, but the big news and the big talking point coming out of night 8 is what happened after the match.
Yes, the moment we've been all waiting for. The Mega Aces unite. Okada and Tanahashi. The handshake heard around the world.
Yeah, so after the match was over, the Bullet Club just started running roughshod over all the all the Chaos members, and they just started really just beating down on Okada. And then suddenly, the triumphant returning Tanahashi came into the ring, and he ran wild brother on all the members of the Bullet Club, and he started and then him and once Okada realized what was going on, him and Okada just started doing some double team moves, bro. And it was incredible. It was like they did the fusion dance.
Yeah.
It was like seeing Goku and Vegeta team up for the first time ever. You're like, my God, this is incredible.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was that, and then after the match was over, they had a stare down, and Tanahashi kind of did like a little gesture, like me and you. Yeah. And he put his hand out, and right then and there, Okada took his hand and they shook hands, and it was like, what is even happening right now?
Yeah, and the roof blew off that place. They popped huge for that moment.
I just feel like we need to take a moment and appreciate how we said that this was the Mega Aces last week before anybody said anything like that.
Didn't we say it like 2 weeks ago?
It might have been 2 weeks ago, dude.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Bro, we started talking about the Mega Aces, and I'm all in on the Mega Aces, bro.
Yes.
But now it's a real thing. We spoke it into existence.
Dude.
The secret.
The power of declaration, man.
Bro, if you dream it, it will come. Oh, my God.
Oh, man, dude. I'm ready for Mega Aces versus Golden Lovers.
I've been sending vibes into Gato's mind. It's working. Yeah, the Mega Aces is a real thing.
Like,
it's popping off.
Gato, you need to put Okada and Tanahashi, the team, together. For real?
But, I don't know going forward what this really means. I did think that it was interesting that Kenny Omega actually tweeted out about this, and he said that he didn't really like the fact that Tanahashi came in as this old, slow-moving man beating down this entire clan of Bullet Club members, and then him and Okada shaking hands. He's like, I prefer my stories to be stories that someone more than 5 years old can appreciate.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. And then he did end up taking that tweet down, but then people were
screen captured it. Yeah.
Screen capturing it, saying stuff to him, and then he basically said something to the people were basically saying you're not even on the tour, and he was like, well, I'm out there bringing more brand awareness to New Japan and trying to grow the product as opposed to just being one of these like dumpy dudes on the worst shows of the year.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Dude, that's some heated comments from Kenny right there. I mean,
I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullcrap, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he is bringing awareness to New Japan, you know, being the IWGP champion on the Jericho cruise.
Really? I don't think he is.
Well,
I think it's bullcrap. It's the Jericho cruise. It's not like he's working like it's not like he's going somewhere that's really that. I don't think it makes an impact is what I'm trying to say. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like he's working the freaking Jericho cruise. Like, how many people? I don't know. Bro, it's Bullet Club fans and Ring of Honor fans that are there. They already know Kenny.
Right.
It's not like he's doing something that's bringing this awareness to, like, he's not like moving into this new market. It's like a bunch of people, they probably all got New Japan like world subscriptions and crap. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true. I didn't think about that.
He's on a paid vacation. You know who's bringing brand awareness? The dudes who are in Cork and working this crap.
Yeah.
You know who's bringing brand awareness? Tanahashi and Okada. I haven't seen Kenny like being mentioned on social media for being on the Jericho cruise because he's gonna do a 6-man tag against, you know, Jericho. What I have seen is I've seen the internet explode because Okada and Tanahashi, the two greatest rivals in the last decade,
Shook hands.
What is he talking about?
Yeah, dude, a lot of Kenny's latest tweets, I'm just like, bro, like, what are you doing? What are you talking about, man? Like, you're the IWGP champion. You're supposed to be, like, the face of this company, and you're out here saying foolishness. You're not on the tours, getting your match over.
I'm just going to say this. I'm a big fan of this angle. I don't know what it's leading to, but I'm intrigued, and I like it. And I think that Kenny's, like, stuff, I'm sure it's, like, trying to build towards, you know, the Wrestle Kingdom match, but you know how you build to the Wrestle Kingdom match? You be here.
Yeah.
Be here, son. Okay? Be here. You're the IWGP champion. Be on the tour. You haven't been on the tour.
And we did have a question from our buddy Matthew Mayer over at Lords of Pain. He has a question. He says, I'm not really caught up on my New Japan at the moment, but how do you like the way the BCOGs/Firing Squad are shaping up? And he says, oh yeah, and Tanahashi and Okada joined together as Mega Powers.
Well, we need to correct you there, Matt. It's the Mega Aces.
So yeah, first, I mean, we've pretty much said how we felt about Tanahashi and Okada. I mean, we were both very hyped for it. We think it's amazing. It's very intriguing. As far as the BCOGs/Firing Squad, we did talk about this a couple weeks ago, but we've seen a little bit more now about with them feuding on Chaos. You know, what are your thoughts on BCOGs and, you know, where they're at right now?
I mean, it's still too early. I mean, on paper, you've got a powerhouse team if you really think about it, but in actuality, it just feels very disconjointed so far. Part of the thing that always made the Bullet Club was the unity in the early days. Yeah. You know, and that sense of culture. And, you know, Tama Tonga and, you know, Fale were definitely a big part of it, but they were the lackeys. They were the under guys. And most of it came from, like, Carl Anderson and from
Prince Devitt
and the Bucks. Those are, like, the four guys that, like, you're like, wow, that's who you really, like, look to. They created the culture of the group. You take that away, the heart and soul's gone, and you've just got a bunch of guys wearing skeleton shirts.
Yeah. You know,
and they're not even wearing the skeleton shirts.
It feels very weird still seeing Jay White teaming with those guys. And I feel like the whole, like, them doing, like, Too Sweet, it feels forced. Like,
it feels so forced.
It's like...
you know what I would do?
What?
I would put them in the shirts.
The Bullet Club, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, Jay White has a new one. Like, why aren't you wearing this?
What is the point of being the Bullet Club? The whole point is to sell merchandise.
Yeah.
Where's the merch? You guys they're not even pushing it. I feel like that's like a really important thing. It's like a super overlooked sort of thing. It feels like a bunch of guys. It's kind of the thing that we were criticizing about how Chaos felt disconjointed.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's still fresh, so I'm not like totally bearing it, but I'm not I'm not happy with it, really. And we'll talk about the other Bullet Club, later on. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that was it for his question.
So that's gonna do it for our review. But there is one thing we gotta talk about before we move on and do our final, predictions and preview for Power Struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Mavs Gillis and Lanny Poffo, they made their debut on the stick. What do you think, Jeremy?
All right. So let's. I'll start negative and then we'll go positive.
Okay.
Lanny Poffo. This man is trash.
Sideline.
Right. Dude, it's time to bake another one on baby. Lanny Poffo, you gotta be ready to attend this barbecue, my brother. Yo, Lanny Poffo, what was he doing out there? This man sounded like a 2K announcer.
Bro, when you said that, I was dying. So we're sitting here watching the shows, and every now and again, like, Lanny Poffo will literally, like, jump in, and Jeremy's like, you notice how he sounds literally like a 2K19, like announcer, like...
Kota Ibushi is very quick in the ring.
Just saying, like, bro, the most absurd... But here's the thing, and I feel bad burying Lanny, because he did probably as well as anyone who was in his position, who is, and let me just say, he's Lanny Poffo. Anyone who is Lanny Poffo, like, who thought Lanny Poffo was going to be good at this?
Right, like, what commentary experience does Lanny Poffo have?
Bro, the dude's never, like, been in New Japan. He doesn't watch New Japan. He's not affiliated with
I will
New Japan.
say this, he did know the names of the wrestlers, and he did seem to be able to recognize who all the wrestlers were.
Well, he's a very smart man. He's the genius, obviously.
Yeah.
He's very articulate. I mean, like, Lanny Poffo's a great guy and stuff, but, like, he's not made to be part of this roster. Now, you could probably he's gonna be on Power Struggle, bro. Like, he's gonna be on Power Struggle.
Oh my gosh.
And maybe working with Kevin Kelly might help a little bit, but I mean... dude, this was worse than Yoshitatsu.
Dude, this is like, people like to bury Michael Cole and like Byron Saxton and Percy Watson. This was 100 times worse than any of those guys.
It was really bad.
My gosh.
And the thing is, like, Lanny didn't, even though he might have known guys and stuff, he did not know what was going on. Dude, remember that you pointed out to me that one time where he's like, oh, I missed that spot because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you don't say that you're not paying attention on the air. Like,
and then they talked about how, like, he invented
the moonsault.
He was like, little known fact, I've gotten a lot of recognition over the years for inventing the moonsault, but I actually stole it from Tiger Mask in 1982. I'm not sure if it's the same Tiger Mask here. I was like, what? He thinks that Tiger Mask that is wrestling right now is the same dude that he saw do the moonsault in 1982?
Yeah.
He thinks this... How could this possibly be Sayama? Let's just do some basic math here.
Quick math.
If Sayama was 20... Let's just say he was 20. That was over 30 years ago. He'd have to be like 50-something. I mean, like almost 60. I mean, Tiger Mask is older, but he's not that old.
Right.
That's.
And then, the second night they had Chris Charlton out there.
Chris Charlton was helping him
and
a lot.
He was like,
trying to.
Yeah, and Chris Charlton's talking about, like Black Tiger, the 94 Junior Tag League. He's like, well, back in the 80s, whatever, I beat Hulk Hogan. It's like, what? What the hell is you beating Hogan have to do with anything that's happening right now?
I headlined Madison Square Garden twice. But this is also a really good, venue. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Lanny Poffo? Like, Lanny, he just, I'm sorry, like, I feel bad for burying the dude, but he was bad. Here's how I know he was bad, okay? A lot of people have their preferences about commentary. I don't. I'm not someone who really can usually pinpoint when someone's really good or really bad. I mean, I like who I like, but I'm not... there are other people who have a better ear for that sort of thing. If it's, let's just say this, I don't think Matt Striker is that bad.
Yeah.
And everyone says he is, and I'm pretty sure he probably is. I just don't notice it. You have to be, for me, what I'm saying is you have to be egregiously bad for me to recognize how bad you actually are. And he's awful.
Yeah, I mean,
he's awful.
There are points where like Mav Gillis would like throw to him and be like, "Lanny, what do you think about that?"
Dude, there's times where he just sit there silent.
Right, either he would not answer the question or he'd like answer like 2 minutes later with something ridiculous.
Why does he like Rocky Romero so much?
Dude, that man was on some Don Callis stuff. Don Callis with Kenny Omega.
My God.
Don Callis with Tessa Blanchard on Rocky Romero.
Now, I know Rocky Romero is our good friend of the show.
Yes, he is.
But, he's like, if this man is, ACH is one of the best high flyers next to Rocky Romero.
Yeah, and then like one point somebody was getting gassed out. It was like, only if he had the stamina of a Rocky Romero.
Did you ever see like South Park when they talked about what's that song? Jacob Joe Heimerschmidt? They're like, if Jacob Joe Heimerschmidt, oh my God, okay, keep going because I'm gonna look this crap up.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that, but yeah, we love Rocky, but I mean, he was like putting over Rocky in like this every single match. It's like he's doing that lariat sequence similar to a Rocky Romero. It was like everything is putting Rocky. I mean, we love Rocky, but it just didn't make sense to be putting Rocky over in every single match.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember the name. There's this song. Okay, from like the I don't know what it is, from the South Park movie. They talk about this figure skater. I think his name's Jacob Heimerschmidt. I can't remember, but it's freaking hilarious. And they're like talking about all these scenarios, like if he was doing this, like, and it just becomes more and more and more fantastical until it's like absurd. That's like kind of how it was with Rocky. Like he's like putting Rocky over like he was Kenny Omega or Tanahashi. Like,
right.
It was like it was like, what are you talking about? And then like he would just say like random crap. Like at one point they tried to like feed him something and he's like, "Where's Kanemaru?"
And dude, there'll be several times where like he would bury like no action happening in the ring. He's like,
yeah,
since there's nothing happening in the ring right now, let me say something.
My God, yeah.
And then he'd be like, let me wait for a lull in the action. I have a fact that I need to tell you.
Oh yeah, he was trying to do that like his fun fact at the beginning of matches, but he couldn't find a good time to put it in.
He like, let me know when there's a lull in the match so I can tell you my genius fact.
Bro, but it was such a love-hate relationship because on one side, okay, I wasn't necessarily loving a lot of the... Well, Night 7 was like... What's funny is Night 7 was like the best night of the whole tour, but it was Lanny's worst night because it was his first night. I was getting pissed at him and just laughing my butt off all at the same time.
It's like botchamania quality.
It's like botchamania because I was getting so mad at him, like obscenities. So I was just angry, but then it was so absurd that like I couldn't believe this was really happening. That it seemed like a dream, like, and it just like you have to laugh at it because it's that bad.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because they set him up for failure. Who thought that bringing this dude in was what's that guy? What's the guy's name that invited him from All In? Michael Craven?
Yeah.
Yo, Michael Craven, you about to get these hands, son. Like, you're ruining New Japan.
Oh, dude, there are hundreds of other people they could have chosen besides Leaping Lanny Poffo.
Anybody, dude. It was bad. So, all
right, now that
we're gonna keep seeing him too. Yeah. That's the crazy thing. So
now that we officially roasted the genius, let's talk about Mavs Gillis. I thought, on the other hand, Mavs Gillis did a great job. He had tons of energy. He knew the wrestlers. He knew the backstory. He knew the names of the moves. He knew what was going on. He was able to pretty much call these matches by himself because Lanny was no help.
I'm not too familiar with him, but apparently he's a professional sportscaster from Canada, a big fan of, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and for a first time doing this, with New Japan, I thought he was really good. I don't know why Kevin Kelly wasn't there necessarily, but he was a strong replacement. Right. I thought he did great.
And I kind of do like the idea of
a secondary?
Yeah, establishing a B commentary team for Road 2 shows. So that way all right, this is a Road 2 show. Here's the Road 2 commentaries. Now we have the actual shows, Kevin Kelly and Rocky Romero, Kevin Kelly and Mark, Kevin Kelly and Don Callis.
The UFC does that, and I'm not opposed to it either.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, there was a couple things some people criticized him for not feeding enough stuff to, like setting up
Papa.
Lanny. I do think it was kind of strange that they decided to let both of these guys come in on their first night together. That seemed to be a big misstep.
Right. You would think you would try one of them at one time with somebody more experienced.
Yes, I agree with that. Maybe do Lanny and Kevin, and then maybe do like Rocky and Mavs.
Yeah,
that would have made more sense to me. But I don't know. I don't run the company.
But to that argument, people saying he wasn't feeding. I do think there were times when he tried to feed stuff to Pafo, and Pafo would either not answer or say something ridiculous. Also, so it was like, what's the point of feeding to him?
Also, Chris Charlton tried to help him a lot the second night as well, and it didn't matter. It really didn't. There was times where like I was literally laughing because Chris seemed to like. There were times where he would try to like play off of Lanny, but like in an awkward way, and then there's other times where like he just would not say any, like Lanny would say something and Chris is supposed to say something and he wouldn't say anything because he was like probably dumbfounded at what just came out of the mouth. Mavs was good. The other thing I saw people criticizing was that he was like you said, he had high energy, but it was always at the top.
Right, like he came in super hot like during the Young Lions match.
And he stayed hot the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I'm all about that. I'm the same way. I come in hot, I stay hot. There's no depth to me, son. I'm like an action movie. But no, then you look at like an experienced guy like Kevin Kelly. He knows when to take a step back. He knows how to produce that stuff. So
right, and Don Kyles has mentioned that too. Like his first big mistake was like he said like he got super excited during the Young Lions match. Then by the time it got to Kenny's match, he was like blown up.
Yeah. So I mean, but I hope they bring Mavs back. I hope I don't. It sounds so mean, but I don't think Lanny. It's not a good fit. I don't think Lanny should be doing this.
Yeah.
At least not for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's gonna do it for the road to Power Struggle. So let's go through this Power Struggle card real quick. We've got 7 announced matches on hand in front of us, and yeah.
Yeah, so we have the Never Openweight title match with Tai Chi against Hiroki Goto.
I'm not looking forward to this.
I'm not either. I mean, my heart was set on Tai Chi and Will Ospreay and seeing Will Ospreay win the title so we can potentially get Ospreay versus Ibushi in the Dome. But that's completely off track now.
I gotta say, I think that Tai Chi's retaining the belt.
I hope so.
You do? Why?
So Ospreay can get it off of him.
Okay, so your whole thing is you just don't want Goto near that belt anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like they've done such sporadic booking this year though. Like they took the belt off Goto earlier in the year and put it right back on.
Right,
him.
it's the Never title, it's a Never title and it's Goto, which is why I'm scared that he's going to win.
They could potentially be like, well, Ospreay's out. The whole thing with Taichi's done. Let's just get the belt off him because I thought Ospreay was going to win the belt anyways.
Yeah.
So maybe they turn around and do that, but I don't know. I think January is coming up and Goto's he's probably going to have the more high profile match of the two. So you would think he's going to win, but I think Taichi's going to hold on to the belt and then maybe turn around and drop it prior to the Dome. Do we have enough time for that, or is this it?
Well, I mean, they could do a title match, I guess, on the World Tag League Finals
or a Road to show.
Yeah,
because I'm predicting Taichi.
All right,
what are you predicting?
I'm gonna go with Goto.
You're gonna go Goto?
Yeah,
I kind of sold you on it.
No, it's Goto. It's never open title. That thing flip flops, and yeah, I don't want Goto to win, but I could see him winning.
Okay, and then Tomohiro Ishii is going to be defending his Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship against Minoru Suzuki. He just unseated him earlier this month at the Global Wars show. And this is my pick for potential match of the night. I think it actually will be match of the night, and I'm very excited for it.
And here, I think I'm going to go with Ishii to retain.
Same.
He just won the belt back. I don't see them flopping the belt back again.
Not to mention he's already booked for dates with Rev Pro going forward, so I mean, it's probably pretty obvious that's the way they're going to go. My whole thing is I hope that Ishii and Suzuki do more than, and I don't mean like in a violent way like they kill each other, but they have their match that they do, and it's always great, and I'm here for that match any day of the week. but I want to see him kick it into that extra gear to where we get that 5 snowflakes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Where we get a match of the month, match of the year.
Yeah.
Strong style fight of the year.
Yeah. Still time to get on the ballot for that, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Very, very, very excited. The main event, we have Y2J Chris Jericho coming in to defend the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. That's still a title in New Japan?
Yes, yeah.
It's going to be defending against This Is Eva.
Everything is Eva.
Everything is Eva. So, what are we thinking? What are we thinking, Jeremy?
I think I'm going to go with the upset win of Evil beating Jericho to set up, based off of another match. I think what's going to happen, I think we're going to get Evil's going to be defending that title against somebody else that's on this card.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then again, it is Jericho. I mean, is Jericho going to come in and job to Evil? I mean, if they pay him enough, I guess. But he's very protective of his status and like where he is now. Like, he's not coming in to do jobs. Like, it's not like WWE 2013 where he came in and did all those jobs. Like,
yeah.
I think Jericho keeps the title. I think Evil could easily fit that role, but I think that the company's been fine without highlighting that belt. I think Jericho's going to keep the belt.
I mean, I can see it happening.
Yeah, I just can't see Evil beating him. But you know what, guys? I've been wrong about Jericho every step of the way all year. So yeah, I'm probably wrong.
And the reason why I think Evil is going to win is because of the next matchup we're going to talk about: Tetsuya Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. I believe that Naito is going to win here.
Yeah, I agree.
But then the Sabre Evil match never happened, so Sabre would have a claim to challenging Evil for the IC belt. You do Evil versus Sabre for the IC belt. You do Naito and Jericho, just a grudge match. Naito can get his win back on Jericho without having to be strapped with the IC belt, which he doesn't want. And I mean, I don't think the fans want him in that Nakamura role either. So you get the Jericho Naito rematch without the belt, and then you get another title match out of this with Evil and Sabre.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a way that you can go. I've had those same thoughts. I think logically it makes a lot of sense, but then I just think to myself, Jericho ain't laying down for dusty old Evil. Come on, man.
Oh, man.
And then, you know what? I don't know if Naito's going to beat Jericho in the return match. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah. So I am taking Naito because I just cannot see Zack Sabre going 3 for 3 against Naito.
Yeah, and if he does,
this will be if he does, then he has Naito's number.
Yeah.
Then we're talking about some Jay White, Dave Finlay crap right there.
Yeah.
The fifth match of the night that we're going to talk about, we've got Taguchi Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Dave Finlay taking on the Golden Lovers. And I think it's pretty obvious Dave Finlay's going to take a pinfall loss.
Yeah, Dave Finlay's going to eat the golden trigger.
Is this the first time that we've seen Tanahashi and like Kenny get physical in the ring in like 2 years though?
I think so, right?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't done any multi-man matches so far, so
yeah.
The Golden Lovers are going to be great. Tanahashi will be great. This is a good spot for Dave Finlay to kind of work with these guys. Plus, they have Dave Finlay and Kenny Omega coming up here in the next couple weeks. So maybe that's, we've been wondering why Dave Finlay is wrestling Kenny in Long Beach.
Probably because of this match.
But I think he's definitely going to take the loss, and I think Kenny's going to, one-wing angel him probably.
Then next up we have.
You didn't even get. It's so emphatic that you didn't even give a prediction about.
Well, yeah, I said he's eating a golden trigger.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a golden trigger. You're right.
Yeah,
it is going to be a golden trigger.
Yeah. So next up we have the Chaos team of Kazuchika Okada and Beretta taking on the Bullet Club OG team of Jay White and Bad Luck Fale. I think the Bullet Club team is going to get the win here.
That's an interesting pick. Why do you say that?
Because honestly, there is potential. Jay White's been talking about the Mole and Chaos, and then you had the whole stuff of Tama Tonga putting over Beretta on Twitter. I have a feeling Beretta, he could be the Mole. he could turn on Okada in this match.
Well, Trent Beretta is actually scheduled for we talked about last week how he came out and challenged for the U.S. title. Well, he is going to be getting a U.S. title shot against Cody in Ring of Honor at Ring of Honor. What is it, Global Wars?
Global Wars, yeah.
Yep, their Global Wars event. So what if he was to turn and it becomes a OG versus Elite thing by the time
that match
happens? Trent Beretta also did have some post-match comments criticizing the idea of Okada becoming chummy with Tanahashi. So maybe he's like, this isn't the chaos I remember. Not my chaos.
What happens with Chuck E. T? Is he going to jump ship with Beretta?
No, him and Okada are like best friends.
But him and Beretta are best friends.
They're the best friends, but him and Okada are real life best friends. No, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, there is speculation that Beretta is the mole. But either way, I don't see Bad Luck Fale taking the fall there. So I think, but then again, you got to think if Beretta is about to challenge for a title, you kind of want to keep him strong. Obviously, Okada and White aren't taking the fall.
Right. So yeah, Beretta pin Fale.
Maybe Beretta. Maybe this becomes a big angle and like it's a schmaz.
Yeah, DQ.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know what? That's gonna be my prediction.
Schmaz.
Some sort of schmaz. Maybe. You know what? I'm taking the Bullet Club too, and I think Okada's getting pinned.
Yeah, Beretta.
I'm gonna go with that. That's a sexy pick. Yeah.
Beretta drops down from the apron.
Beretta turns on him, and Jay White hits him with the sling blade or whatever it's called.
The Blade Runner.
The Blade Runner. And we get an OG. That's a big angle going into Wrestle Kingdom. That'll be the talk of the town.
And then
look at us booking the territory.
And then the only other matchup that's scheduled to happen is obviously the Super Junior Tag League Finals,
which I've got the team of LIJ going into the finals, taking the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going LIJ. I thought you were going to Roppongi 3K.
Well, I kind of deep down in the back of my mind think that that's what's going to happen, but my original pick was LIJ, and I'm sticking with it. You're switching from Show and Yo?
I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna stick. My bracket. In my bracket, I picked Show and Yo.
Yeah, it's too late to change now. You made a commitment. We don't break our commitments on Keeping It Strong Style. We're the ace.
So I'll stick with Show and Yo.
Any chance Suzuki-gun walks away with this thing like they have so many other times this year?
I mean, they have been building them as, these top...
I'll be so pissed if they win.
Champions. They could win.
I hate them so much.
And then, Roppongi 3K has a title match beating them in the tournament. So they could win and then get the match off of that.
I do think going with Roppongi 3K is the best move. Just the way the whole tournament... They've done so much for Shingo, and there's a lot of upside there. But I think that they need to push Roppongi 3K, have them win... have him go into the Dome challenging. But I made my pick, you made your pick, and there we are. So that's our preview of Power Struggle 2018.
Boom. We got a couple of questions here. One on Twitter here from Twitter user at MurrayBone2000. He wants to know if you could bring one wrestler from All Japan or Noah to New Japan, who would it be?
Jeremy?
You're just gonna throw your boy under the bus like that. I do not watch All Japan or Noah right now. My wrestling plate is pretty full right at the moment. I know there's great stuff happening.
That's because you be watching those Western gimmicks, brother. This man's out here watching MLW and NXT and
NXT UK,
WWE. Sometimes you throw some Ring of Honor in there, some Impact. My God.
So yeah, this one's all you.
Yeah. So I'll say this: I am not a regular viewer of Noah or of All Japan. That doesn't mean that I don't dabble a bit in the the other pro resus that are out there. There's some guys I really, really like. I mean, I think that the obvious pick, if you talk about All Japan and it's so obvious that you're like, it's kind of boring to say this, but it's like, he's the most dynamic guy over there. You got to go Kento Miyahara. Oh my God, I would love to see Kento Miyahara. The only thing is, like, you don't want to take guys like that away from these other companies because it's going to cripple them, and that Kento's the ace. So there's that. But, man, he's one of my favorite guys. I've loved his, like, story arc and his trajectory. Another guy from All Japan that I can think of right off the top of my head, Joe Doring, would be awesome to come in and just... Joe Doring and like Ishii just lariat, like hitting each other with like killer lariats. Like I'd be down for that all day. From Noah, Kino, my God, I would love to see Kino in like a G1. Also, Nakajima, like ever since his failed face run and they tried to make him the ace and it failed, and now he's on this like new heel crap. I've been seeing these gifs of him just kicking dudes in the head. He like, yeah. Do you remember Nakajima? He was in the G1 a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's really grown into a superb talent. Takashi Segura. I would like his match with Minoru Suzuki from 2015 is maybe one of the most violent matches I've ever seen in my life, and it's an all-time favorite. I love that match. So I'd love to see Segura come here. And then Marufuji. I mean, I know he's been here before, but Marufuji's Marufuji, so I would love to see Marufuji in New Japan. Trying to think. I mean, Jun Akiyama's over in All Japan. I mean, there's lots of guys. Shuji Ishikawa. There's lots of them, but yeah. I'm all in for that. That's why the Champions Carnival was so great this year.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the Champions Carnival was fire.
Yeah.
And definitely worth, checking out. And then this next question is going to lead us into the news from fellow social suplexer Caleb Baldwin. He says, y'all ready for the Elite and Impact next year?
No. You ready for the entire Elite to come to TNA Wrestling?
Things are not looking good over there at Impact. They got moved to 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and I heard that I don't know, I might have misheard this. I thought I heard that they got their time cut. I tried to look it up. I couldn't verify it, but I do know for a fact that the ratings are like tanked in that 10 o'clock spot. So it's just, business-wise, it's not looking good for Impact right now.
Yeah, so I mean, getting the Elite would be a huge thing for Impact. I don't think it would be a huge thing for the Elite.
I don't know if it would make a difference at this point that the company's so tainted. I really don't know if it would actually make a difference.
Yeah. But speaking of the Elite, we do have a lot of Elite news.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, right now we're kind of wondering what's going to be going down with these guys. The entire Elite, they're all on the Jericho cruise as we speak. We've been hearing good. I heard like really good stuff about Young Bucks against LAX. So that actually is a match I kind of want to check out.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean we've been seeing some activity the past week. Like Matt Jackson actually tweeted out, and he put a tweet that said "Money isn't everything." And I saw Ty Dillinger actually like retweeted it. It was saying something like he put up something about like, remember when I used to wrestle?
Yeah.
And how like basically like, money isn't everything, because the guy doesn't wrestle anymore. But then on the flip side, you see the Bucks, they kind of like agreed to a match with the Revival over Twitter. The Revival like challenged them, and they basically said like when we get there or something to that nature.
I think that's all working.
I think it's all working, bro. Like every week we get contradictory stuff. We get stuff. It's out of both sides of their mouth.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Cody was doing a Q&A this past weekend. During the fan Q&A on Twitter, he basically said he's not booked on the Madison Square Garden show, and he said he's no longer affiliated with the Bullet Club, that's just a Jay White thing. He didn't say if like they're just going to call themselves the Elite or anything like that, but he said he's no longer associated with the Bullet Club in any way.
Which clearly isn't 100% true, because Ring of Honor is still billing these guys as Bullet Club, and all of the Ring of Honor Global War stuff, all those Elite guys are still labeled as Bullet Club.
Huh. So then, Cody was on the cruise, and this just happened, like, I believe last night, and he wrestled Delirious, and at the end of his match, he had some post-match comments, And I don't know if it's a work. It's probably a work, but the allegation is that he didn't know that this was going to leak because there was no internet broadcast taking place on the cruise. Although I'm sure like he's not stupid, but he had said essentially that they have no plans to go to WWE and they're going to do everything in their power to bring All In to the fans. But then again, you're on a cruise with the people that probably went to All In, and you're
working them.
You're promising them, another show. I mean, if you do like we've kind of speculated, if they do All In 2, is it going to draw? The allure of having the first shows kind of wear it off. So maybe they're just like putting their ducks in a row just in case. Like, oh, hey, we're on this cruise with all these dudes who probably were at our thing. Hey, guys, we're definitely doing it.
Get those credit cards ready.
But I don't know. What do you think? Like, where are we at with our Elite watch?
Dude, I don't even know, man. Like, I'm just ready for January to be here so we just know what these guys are doing. Because I feel like until January, literally every week, we're probably going to have these guys. They made a WWE tease. They made a Ring of Honor tease. They made a New Japan tease. They're going to start their own promotion tease. They made an All In 2 tease. It's going to be that literally revolving stuff every week.
Hey, I made mention of it because we have to in the news, but I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to dissect it anymore. My gut says they're going to go, but they might not, and it's literally not even... at this point, it's like we have to talk about it, but it's not that interesting to me anymore.
And I don't think they're going to WWE. Now, I don't know if they're staying with Ring of Honor in New Japan, but I do not think they're going to the E.
Before we move on, there is something I want to talk about. I got a lot of flack. People private messaging us, people saying different things on the message boards or whatever. I always say message boards because I'm just like old. Like, we're not on message, like I guess Reddit.
On the Reddit, the subreddits,
whatever. Criticizing my criticisms of the Bullet Club and the Elite storyline. But I gotta say, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm feeling kind of vindicated because not only have I thought it was bad, I think it's done.
Yeah.
I think it's done. I think that because the Elite are gone, maybe they're staying, but they're not going to be on this tour. They're not going to be on the next tour. We're not going to see them till January. The whole entire Elite and OG Bullet Club storyline cannot play out. Now, there are fans out there who are like, well, you need to have some patience. Can't have patience for something that's not happening. And if these guys leave, it's definitely not happening. Right now, we, just like last year, have a category for Feud of the Year. And one of those, one of the candidates is the OG Bullet Club versus the Elite. If this continues the way it is, it's not even a feud. It's basically an angle and then a business split.
Yeah.
And everyone was expecting a war. The war never happened. It's a Cold War. It's silent. It's literally one of the big missteps of New Japan this year. And I feel like everyone who said that I was wrong and that I needed to be patient and that I needed to can just go, I did it.
The young boys got 2 words for you.
I got 2 words for you. No, but, no, I love our listeners, but I feel vindicated here because it felt like this whole thing... Obviously, at this point, we have just transitioned the Heat onto Chaos versus the OG Bullet Club. The Elite, I think New Japan is getting prepared just in case these guys don't resign, and that's why they've done this.
Yeah.
They've made them a non-factor, which sucks from a storyline perspective. And, yeah, it's not been a good story. The Cody Kenny story is way better than this.
Yeah.
And that kind of...
Honestly, the highlight of the OG stuff was them attacking...
Yeah.
Golden Elite at what was that, G1 special?
It was the G1 special, but then you go back to that being the Elite when they're all just sitting in the hotel together and Cody's like, how are we going to get these fuckers? Like,
yeah.
And then
they never got them.
They never did. So then it's like, well, it's just something that they're just going to move on, and it's like, all right, well, then that was fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Everyone who's like been hoping and praying and waiting, and they're like, oh, it's New Japan, they're gonna long-term storytelling. It's like, dude, you don't do long-term storytelling with a faction split.
Yeah.
It's illogical.
You just tell a story.
You tell the story. It happened.
Yeah.
It just happened, But yeah, so I think we're done with that.
Yeah.
So let's cover this news real quick. I know the show's gone long, so we're gonna just cover it real quic. Don Cocaine Callis rides again, baby.
Don, by God, Callis.
By God, Callis.
Yo.
Yes. So Don Callis.
Cyrus the Virus.
Killing the town. He's back.
Yes.
After we pronounced him dead, but he was not ready to rest in peace. He's back. Now, let me ask you, since he is coming back, because apparently the bigwigs, meaning like Jericho, Omega, whoever it was that was upset about Don not being involved and then him being vocal, New Japan management decided to bring him back. I don't know what kind of deal they brokered, but he's going to be back, and they're saying he's going to work the big show. So he's confirmed for Wrestle Kingdom 13. I hope we get him before then.
Yeah.
I hope we get him for at least the tag finals.
World Tag League Finals.
I would love for Don to just be the guy that comes in for the big shows like that.
I would love for Don to come and punch Lanny Poffo out of his chair.
But let me ask you, with Don and the whole thing with Kenny Omega, do you think he's gonna flip on that, or do you think he's gonna be anti-Kenny from now on?
I think he might flip on Killing the Town last week. It kind of seemed like he was already trying to backtrack. He was like, what happened with Kenny was tough love. That's truly how I feel. But I love Kenny Omega.
You gotta stay out of family business. Families bicker. That's it. But he's the greatest IWGP champion this sport has ever known. And he's gonna just completely flip it.
And he was like, sometimes families fight, and that's what happened. And it's like.
Yep. But good news. We're excited. We got Lanny Poffo, but we got Don Callis. So there's a trade-off there. Jim Ross recently underwent skin cancer surgery treatment. So, our thoughts and prayers with him. I think it went good. It was a success. I know that Lanny Poffo actually made mention of it on the air.
Yeah.
So, and I believe JR's actually, it must have gone good because he's on the Jericho cruise right now.
Yeah, it must have, yeah.
Yeah. Taka Taichi Mania 5 was announced. So.
Taka Michino who? Taichi. Be there.
Yeah. They had that crazy show earlier in the year that Naito and
Taichi in the main event. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had Jun Kasai and what's wrong with me? Who's the dude with the Iron Claw that I hate?
Oh, Iska.
Yeah, they had Iska and Jun Kasai try to stab each other with cleavers on that show. So pretty interesting.
Man, Taichi's a pretty selfless booker. He put himself in the main event and did the job. That's not what I would have done. Hey, Naito.
I don't think you could get Naito unless you
take a look at the lights, pal.
Also, Chris Charlton put up a post, basically questioning that we might be getting the return of the mysterious wrestler known as Masked Horse. Looks like the Road to Tokyo Dome is sponsored by the same racing company that sponsored the shows earlier in the year where Masked Horse made his appearance. So be on the lookout for the legendary wrestler.
Masked Horse, the man trained by horses, abandoned by his parents, raised by horses, and trained to be a wrestler.
Also, Chris Charlton mentioned that Ibushi was on Twitter and said that he's going to be debuting a new move very shortly. I mean, he's got so many. I don't know why.
I know. I mean, that Kamigoye is fire.
Kota Ibushi has many devastating maneuvers. God, Lanny Poffo's awful. This is going to become a bit on our show forever. It's going to be awesome. Also, Hiroshi Tanahashi, I saw a video of him on this video game commercial for the Nintendo Switch, so you might want to check that out. It was actually on the Reddit, so check that out. Tanahashi out there sharing his glory with the world. Also, the Ishii-Suzuki match from Rev Pro, where Ishii defeated Suzuki, is now on New Japan World, so you can check that out. New Japan has announced the dates through February for all their upcoming shows. I don't know if we want to go through all that.
No, I think we'll just as they come up.
But you can check out the calendar. You can see they're basically all the dates all the way through New Beginning have been announced. So that's we kind of have a good picture idea where we're going in the future with the company. Now, one thing that is cool, they announced all the luchadors that are going to be showing up on Fantastica Mania.
Yeah, it's going to be Atlantis, Mystico, Caristico, Volador Jr., Dragon Lee, Teton, Angel de Oro, Soberano Jr., Flyer, Aduaz, Atlantis Jr., Ultimo Guerrero, Terrible, Gran Guerrero, Barbario Cavernario, Sanson, Cuatero, Forastero, Okamura, and Templario.
The whole time I heard you saying that, I just hear like dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I just hear like yeah. Okamura. Yeah, so that's what I'm hearing the whole time. Rudos. The free match of the week this week was Hiro Matsuda and Masa Saito taking on I forget his first name, Sakaguchi and Riki Choshu on June 15th, 1979 for the NWA National Tag Team Championship. This is a match I've never seen. I don't know why this is the free match of the week. Maybe because the Junior Tag League.
Yeah. And then we're getting ready for World Tag League.
Yeah, so I mean, this was not on New Japan World before because I actually watched all the 70s matches. So I've never seen this, but I'll probably be sure to check it out. But I mean, I can't imagine in 1979 that this is a very good match. Yeah. So I'll have to check it out. But yeah, if you want a free match of the week, check that out. And then we have some news on the New Japan Pro Wrestling GIF policy.
Right, yeah. Mr. Lariato, famous Twitter account that tweets out a lot of Puroresu GIFs. He said, New Japan, they said that they only want 3 to 4 GIFs per match tweeted out, and they do not want the finishes of live shows. They don't want the finishes of the matches on live shows being in a GIF.
So if you are a gift maker or an aspiring gift maker, don't give away no finishes.
And also they want you to link back to New Japan World. I don't know if they want you to put the direct link in the tweet or put a watermark on the GIF, but
I don't even know.
Or tag the Twitter account.
How do you even make a GIF? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even. What you're saying right now is so foreign to me. It's pictures that move, and I like it. But that's gonna do it for the New Japan news. We're gonna cover the outside New Japan news to kind of close out the show. So this past weekend, Jeff Jarrett lost his hair in a hair versus hair match in AAA to Dr. Wagner Jr., who I did not know lost his mask.
I didn't know that either, yeah.
Yeah, it bothered me when I found out. Really sad stuff. So, I'll have to look that up. I didn't know Dr. Wagner lost his hair. Also, November 3rd, the Jericho Cruise, which was sold out.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to stream the matches. I don't know what matches. I'm assuming like
I know for sure the Alpha Club versus Bullet Club is gonna be streamed.
I hope they stream the Bullet Club or the Bucks versus LAX. I'm sure they're gonna do some portion of that Sea of Honor tournament.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Lots of news here. I'm just trying to see. Pac was just recently announced he's going to be making his re-debut for OTT, which OTT has a lot of New Japan talent, and if they're bringing in Pac, it might tell you a little something. Yeah. Also, Hangman Page had a really funny tweet this past week where he said, the only crown jewel that you need to pay attention to in this sport is my good friend Chase Owens. Throwing a little bit of shade at WWE, who did decide to go forward with their show in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
so.
This Friday at noon, if you want to check it out.
Don't promote that on our show. We don't need that kind of negativity in our lives. Recently, they announced a match between Kojima and Walter in Rev Pro.
I'm all about it. About it. Let's run this. Strong Style Fight of the Year. Let's get it on the ballot.
It's going to be good. Also, TokyoReview.net just did a recent interview and profile on the legendary founder of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Antonio Inoki. I read it. It's really, really interesting stuff. So if you're a fan of New Japan and you need more background on the history, you might want to check that out. So Dave Meltzer's ratings for PWG's last show, Smoking the Bandito, came out. We saw Zack Sabre Jr. Competing against Hechicero. Their match got 4.5, which is a pretty high rating for a show like that. So Hechicero is one of the best grapplers, submission wrestlers in Mexico. So I cannot wait for the video of that to come out. And then the match between Jeff Cobb and Walter got 4.25. So, really good stuff for those guys. Y2J just did an interview with Sports Akita talking about his future, talking about why he hasn't shown up in Impact and future with New Japan and what he's doing with the Cruise. So Really good stuff there. Definitely want to check that out. Dragon Gate just came out with the streaming service for only $13.99 a month. I don't know too much about it, but if you're a Dragon Gate fan, I'm sure either you're pissed because they're putting it behind a paywall, or you're happy because you're gonna have all that content consolidated. But either way, definitely worth checking out. Joey Janela's Spring Break sold out today in 1 minute.
Yeah, tickets went on sale at noon today. Next thing you know, they were sold out.
What the heck, bro? Like, this is the only show WrestleMania weekend aside from the MSG show where I'm like, I have to be there, and it's sold out. So, if you guys got the hookup, hook your boys at Keeping It Strong Style up. We'll work something out. Trust me, because I'm willing to pay
top dollar,
a substantial an amount of money that my psychiatrist calls foolish and irresponsible. I got to be at that show. It's the show of the weekend. I got to be there. And obviously everyone else knows. By the way, Atsushi Onita is going to be wrestling. Yes, Atsushi Onita. Need I say more? I think he's going to be like the boss that Joey Janela has been like building up to is Onita. So yeah. This past weekend, we went to the Evolve 114 show, which we're not going to give you a whole rundown. It was a great show, but they crowned 2 new champions, the tag team champions and the Evolve champion. A tag team. They put the tag titles on the Street Profits from NXT, and then they lifted the Evolve title off of Shane Strickland and put it on Fabian Eichner from NXT. What's happening?
The relationship between WWE and Evolve is getting stronger. Evolve has become NXT Light. It's now WWNXT.
WWE Evolve.
Yeah. They're going. This they said it was the reboot. This was the new Evolve. That Vince McMahon buzzword, the new Evolve. And we had a bunch of NXT Largo Loopers. Jesse Alabama was on the show. Dan Matha. They put the belts on the Street Profits. Adrian Jaoud.
Yo, that guy was awesome. He was awesome. But either way, it was a good show. But let me just say, normally we wouldn't bring up Evolve. We wouldn't bring up WWE. But keep your eyes on this story because it looks like WWE is going to begin. They're already talking about doing tiered pricing for the WWE network and showing progress. ICW and Evolve, and with the fact that they're going to be displaying, I don't know what the relationship's going to be, but it seems like the fact that they allowed all their competitors like that to be shown on the broadcast.
Right, and that was
the deal's changed.
Yeah, deals. Yeah, now all WWE guys are allowed to be shown on the broadcast. So the Mustafa Ali stuff and the Cassius Ono stuff.
This is very similar to what was going on with Flow Slam just a couple years ago, where we were wondering with the rights fees and everything like that, who's allowed to be on what. Obviously, in the past, Evolve has had many different indie guys that have had deals with, other companies, other groups. That's going to stop. It's going to get to the point right now, or it's already there, where this basically cuts off. I mean, we were already heading that way, but this is a firm line in the sand. So the battle lines are drawn like, if you're Evolve, if you're Progress, if you're ICW, you're WWE.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be involved in any way with what's going on with New Japan and their whole conglomerate. So very interesting stuff. Keep your eyes on this. What I'm saying is you're not going to be seeing Zack Sabre showing up in Evolve WrestleMania weekend or anything like that. Like this, it's pretty like clear what's happening.
Yeah.
Also, another interesting business thing I just want to cover real quick before we go. ONE FC and the UFC have brokered the first ever trade deal for MMA fighters. The UFC has traded Demetrius Johnson to ONE FC. If you're not familiar with ONE, most of our listeners probably know UFC. If you don't know what ONE FC is, they're based out of Singapore. They're the second largest MMA promotion in the world. They have comparable financial backing to the UFC. And they're trading Ben Askren, who was a former Bellator champion, to the UFC. A guy who Dana White has run down for years and avoided signing when he was a free agent. The only reason I think that this is an interesting story, and I bring it up on our show, obviously I'm an MMA head, but just the business, it's just so strange because no two MMA companies have ever done a business transaction like this ever before. The closest we ever got was back in the 2000s when Pride in the UFC talked about trading Chuck Liddell Wanderlei Silva and Matt Hughes for a temporary trade, but this is a permanent deal. Just very interesting. I mean, essentially this would be like if like WWE and New Japan decided to do a trade deal. Like, that's literally what this is comparable to. So just really strange stuff. Like, it's something that you just thought you'd never see. And like, you know, people don't like to talk about it, but like MMA and WWE and like wrestling and MMA, it's the same industry.
Yeah.
It's the same crap.
Yeah.
If you don't think it is, talk to George Hackenschmidt.
One's a work, one's a shoot.
And then we have our final news story. You know, we don't usually bring this individual up on our show very often, but it's probably the biggest news story of the past week, and it has to do with Roman Reigns, the former WWE Universal Champion. He came out last week and announced that he was vacating the title and he'd be taking a leave of absence from wrestling due to his battle with leukemia.
Yeah, and this is something that he's had before, and he's had to battle before, and I believe he said he's been dealing with it for like 11 years, and now it's back. And so, you know, very sad news. You know, regardless about how you feel about Roman Reigns, his push, his character, his wrestling, you know, this is a horrible thing to happen to somebody at this point in his career, and you know,
yeah,
it just sucks. And
yeah, so we're going to wish him all the best. I saw that Ring of Honor as well as New Japan and tons of talent, they all also, you know, wished him their best. The good news is the reports look like this is something that is survivable and beatable.
Yeah.
So, you know, our thoughts and prayers go out to Joe.
Yeah, Joe Inouye.
Joe Inouye. I also call him Smojo. Roman Reigns. Yeah. We hope that he wins this battle. And, yeah, that's going to do it for the news.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap the show up. Next week, we'll be back with a Power Struggle review. And, of course, we'll be on
Wrestler of the Month.
Yep. Match of the month. Yep. And all the latest news. Make sure you connect with us on social media. On Twitter, I am at Jeremy L. Donovan. The show is at KI Strong Style. Social Suplex is at Social Suplex. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/Social Suplex. You can also join us in the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, Wrestling Squared Circle, facebook.com/group/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy, and Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. You can email me, jeremy@socialsuplex.com, if you want to be a part of the Social Suplex team, or if you have questions for any of our shows. Make sure you check out our other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. They have a lot of Evolution coverage up on the network right now. Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show from Scotland. The Outsider's Edge with Rance and Kyle and the Missing Carl. Our podcast dedicated to independent wrestling. Grown Men Watch This Shit, hosted by Jeremy Tate and Chris Bryant. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating and a review. And until next time, goodbye and good night. Bang.
Go Ace.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.